Welcome into the Midday Show alongside Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn back producing the show today. Plenty coming up for you. We will have Rapid Fire with Fedul at 11:30. Your NFL notes at noon. Gunn at 1, which I don't know what he's doing, but it already has me annoyed, and it's going to happen in 3 hours. We just heard from Nick Sirianni. We will react to what he had to say. Overall, Nick Sirianni, a masterclass in a Sirianni presser today. He was 5 minutes late. He gave you absolutely nothing. He likes the depth on the team. He talked about bench guys for most of when he spoke. And ultimately, you feel more confused about where things are going now than you did before he spoke. So great to hear from the head coach today. As for last night, what a brutal Phillies game.
Wow.
Hi, Amy.
Wow, it was bad. That was bad. Listless is the only thing I could come away with. Listless.
Yeah, just an ugly final game of a series. I don't know what their record is in the third game of 3-game series, but feel fact, it doesn't feel great. I'm sure someone will dig that up for me.
Like Jordan Romano was featured prominently in those third games.
Well, that's also where we have to go. It was a mess for Marsh out in left field. I think ultimately he's a good left fielder that had a bad play last night. I'm not necessarily going to throw the entire world at him today. It was disappointing to watch that one for sure. Romano, though, brings up a piece of conversation that we can kind of kick around back and forth because there are two guys with the initials JR who were brought in here to be relievers over the offseason that both are on the fringes of this roster right now. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, yesterday were like, yeah, Joe Ross won't be here. Maybe who's the first to go?
I mean, at this point, that's so funny you say that. When I saw what Romano imploded in, what did he get through? Did he get through? He didn't get through the inning, 2/3. Mm-hmm. I thought, can you keep this guy around? You can't. But is this a scenario where you feel like you have to because you've invested more in him? I don't know. I just don't know how in a game that wasn't out of hand that you could put him in again in any kind of medium leverage, low leverage, certainly nothing where you're trying to save the lead. How would you do that? The only game I could see him going into is if you were up 8-0. And then you're going to be only up 8-6.
Yeah. Oh, geez. You're having him give him 6 runs in an inning? I understand that.
No, he would have credit. He would leave the inning, but they would still be his guys.
Yeah, okay. So I understand the annoyance with him. And ultimately, I still think I come down on this where I was yesterday. As much as Romano stunk last night.
You're still going to go with Joe Ross?
I'm still going Ross. I just go Romano, I think it is a little bit of a toxic energy in me. That's I think that if it just clicks in there.
Stop it.
But it's not like I want him pitching the 7th, the 8th, anywhere close in high leverage at all. It's just more Ross feels like a dime dozen. I have Joe Ross at home with Max Lazar, and Max Lazar's a better version of what Joe Ross is.
I hear you.
I just feel like looking at both of the way their pitching profiles this season, whether it be velocity, whether it be the stuff like that. To me, Romano gives you more upside than Ross, so Ross is the first one to go. If they have to make 2 roster decisions over the next week, it could be both of them. And it'll lead to a conversation later this hour about Dave Dombrowski and one thing that I think could define his legacy here. I'm curious to get into that conversation coming up. So we're going to get to that as well as the Phillies just with an ugly mess last night. But I think we can all taking 4 of 6 from the teams you played over the last 2 series. The big picture.
Trying to look at the bigger picture. And then obviously you're going into, and they feel the pressure. You heard them after the game last night. They know it's, they have to take care of complete business this 4-game set.
Right. Yeah, that's
nothing
pretty
less
much.
than 4.
Wow. Okay. So you need a sweep.
I do.
Okay.
After 8-0 and 6-1, I definitely need a sweep.
I'll take 3.
Okay.
I'll take 3. I'm not getting greedy here. Now, if they take the first 3 and they fail to sweep on Sunday, I reserve the right to be upset about the fact that they can't finish off a sweep. I do want to get into one thing Eagles related, just to open this one up. And obviously, we were on here a little bit later due to the Sirianni presser, so it's something we're going to fully tease out throughout this 10 o'clock hour. I saw something on ESPN. I believe it came out the other day, and they did the NFL future power rankings. So it's not necessarily about where the teams are at right now, but it's about how these teams project out over the next couple of years. And the Eagles, unsurprisingly, being the Super Bowl champions with a young roster, end up number 1. They are the number 1 team in this power ranking. And it got me thinking. In this city, we look back at the 07-11 Phillies as leaving something on the table.
Right.
As they won 1.
Should have had at least 2.
But there should have been 2 or 3 there. I feel as we get into the rest of this era with the Eagles, we've seen the Hurts-Sirianni regime go to a Super Bowl and lose, go to a Super Bowl and win, which that 07-11 Phillies got to World Series 1, got to a World Series and lost. If the Eagles are not to win another one in this stretch,
well, give me the stretch.
The Sirianni regime.
Okay.
So give me the
next 5-6 years.
Right.
6 years.
As long as they build this thing out. As long as the two of them are together and
at least 6
leading the Eagles.
Okay.
I feel ungrateful as all hell saying this. But would you be disappointed if there was not another parade with these two in the city?
Yeah, of course I'm going to be disappointed, but I wouldn't look back on it. I think one of the reasons we look back on that 07 to 11 run is even more disappointing because it got worse every single year, right? You lost the World Series, you lost the NLCS, you lost the NLDS, and then it was like, oh. And then what was after that, 12, 13, 14, I mean, you're looking at 10 years, right, without any sniff of the postseason. So I think that if you have that same trajectory, if we're kind of really putting it out there, like for the next, let's say 7 years, if there's no other Super Bowl and then the wheels fall off after that and you don't make the playoffs for 10 years, yeah. But I mean, if there's a sustained success and you're not having one or the other, I think I won't be as disappointed, I should say.
I'd be disappointed.
I know.
I feel really greedy saying this. I live in a city. I grew up with the idea that was drilled into me. My dad always, we don't win Super Bowls here. That's not how this works.
Right.
I've gotten more Super Bowls in the first 25 years of my life than I ever could have imagined with 2. I'm coming off a Super Bowl victory. I feel ungrateful saying it, but I look at this future power rankings and I'm right. There's nobody better positioned in the NFL for long-term success.
Right.
And if they didn't get another one, I'd be disappointed. And I sound ungrateful as hell doing that, but ultimately, I'm curious if there's a shared sentiment when you look at just how young and how well set up they are, how well positioned they are. While we talk about what they could do this season, would you also feel that sense of disappointment? You could jump in on that 610-632-0975. Coming up on that idea, Howie Roseman was on the Phillies show. A nice little crossover right there. And Roseman shared a little anecdote about a time he was up at the podium with Ruben Amaro and how it related to an experience he had in Philadelphia following the first Super Bowl win, and how people soured on him within the years following. And I think it leads to this conversation. For the people that say, oh, you should just be grateful they got one. Don't be disappointed. Many of you were disappointed after just getting one. We'll get to that coming up. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn here on the Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Show here on The Fanatic alongside Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show. And we got into a little bit of that Phillies game last night. And I just mentioned that the third game of a series for them, for some reason, has bothered me. I can't really put my finger on what exactly it is. I don't know if it's an energy thing. It's, they were sick and tired of Kyle Schwarber being handed the entire city of Cincinnati last night. They just wanted to get the hell out of there, which I understand. I sympathize with that one, actually. I sympathize with wanting to get the hell out of Cincinnati. But I got a text from our own Kevin Cooney that said they are 15-20 in the third game of a 3-game set, which... Feel fact, I felt like I was pretty on the nose there with the fact that they don't do really well in that third game of a series, which leads me to the flip side of that, where they are a 54-31 team, if I'm good at math, which is always a question mark, 54-31 team in games that are not the final game of a 3-game set, which is a 102-win pace. Probably the best team in baseball in games that aren't the third game of a 3-game set.
Well, there was a time, I feel like, at the beginning of the season where they didn't win the first game.
Yeah.
It was like, and then so whatever that number, the 15 wins in the third game, I feel like that's probably front loaded and now back loaded the other way. Because there was, I feel like, but they have taken a lot of series.
Oh, they have.
They've got,
and a lot of like those first two.
Only a couple of sweeps.
Yeah. No, they had their first sweep in almost 2 months.
Yeah.
In the series over the weekend, Rangers. Gosh, how quickly time moves on. I'm locked in on DC, man. I don't care about what happened over the weekend.
We're on to Cincinnati.
No.
First Thursday game. First Thursday game since June 26th. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah. I looked it up because I had to double check. I thought it was a wraparound series, and I saw they were playing Thursday. I was like, wait, what? When's the last time?
I was so used to the free time.
Yeah. They always have Thursdays off, it feels
Cry
like.
for me over there, Brendan Gunn. Cry for me. All right. I wanted to get to this piece of audio because I asked the question, basically, has this Eagles team already accomplished everything you need to in this era? They've won a Super Bowl. They've already been to another Super Bowl. I feel greedy asking for more. However, I do feel like I'd be disappointed if this was it for this era. And I say that because of the ESPN ranking that had them as the top team in the NFL, looking at the future power rankings, that like 5-year outlook. And Howie Roseman actually went on the Phillies show and talked about just that. He was asked about what he took away from an exchange he had with Ruben Amaro back in the day when Amaro was the general manager of the Phillies, and took it as I'm going to look at the criticism I received through the lens of the criticism that Ruben Amaro received. Take a listen to how Howie Roseman addresses this.
They said, what's your biggest surprise? And I said, after watching the response to Ruben, after all the success he had, I realized that just winning in Philadelphia once, I always had this vision, like you win a world championship here, like you're God for life. And clearly, like, that's not going to happen. And, I was kind of joking. And then we won in 17. And, I think there was a moment in 2020 where my boys were watching a Phillies game. I know there was a moment in 2020 when boys were watching a Phillies game and there was a chant, "Fire Howie," in the stands. And, it was like, I don't know. We made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years, won a world championship. You thought that was pretty good. And then you remembered I remembered my moment on that podium with Rube where it's, in this city, which I appreciate, I really do. It's nothing that you've done in the past guarantees your success or your standing in the future. And that's okay. That's okay.
And it doesn't guarantee I'll be satisfied. And that's kind of where I'm at with this team. Like, if this team was built on the Rams team from a few years ago, where it was like they bought and they went all in on that season.
All these piecemeal guys, everybody, it's kind of guys that are towards the end of their careers.
Maybe I'd feel a different way. But with how this team is set up, I wouldn't be satisfied. And it's a very ungrateful thing to say for an organization that's only put 2 Lombardis in the trophy case and put one in the trophy case less than a year ago. I should be sitting here singing their praises of just like, yeah, wasn't that awesome? But ultimately, I would be dissatisfied with this era if it just ends up with 1, similarly to the way I think a lot of people feel about 2007 through 2011 for the Phillies.
I think you feel that way because it was so close in 2009. It was set up because they had gone all in. Another reason is because they were holding on. So you mentioned one of the reasons that I think the Eagles are ranked so high in that number 1 is because they are young. Certainly they have some age, Lane Johnson, at certain positions. But overall, they're a younger team. They certainly are young on defense. The Phillies in 2010, 2011, 2012, not young, right? And then you're really trying to hang on to that. So I think if we got to the end and they hadn't done that, but it seems like the Eagles have a little bit different of a setup. But I think we look back on that era, it's like we should have won one because when the wheels fell off, they really fell off. And it doesn't seem like the Eagles are set up to have the wheels fall off in that kind of dramatic fashion where they're going to, be not irrelevant, but certainly not a major player after the regime is done, so to speak, after, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. So, yeah, it would be disappointing if you see this team, the way it's constructed with its youth and the way that they've been able to overcome, losing coordinators and anything else every single year at this point and still be the top dog. Even if they're not the 1 seed, they're they're always in the conversation the last 3 years for winning the Super Bowl.
So you're happy being in the conversation is really where it comes down.
I mean, you need to be in the Super Bowl.
Right.
I feel like, but how disappointed would you feel at the end of this next, let's say, 6 years? I think 7. I'll put it out to 7. They had only appeared in 2 more Super Bowls, but hadn't won one.
I'd be disappointed.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you.
I feel like you would leave me. Like I feel like you're leaving something on the table.
Is that worse though? I mean, I'm with you. I would be disappointed too if you make it all the way to the Super Bowl 2 more times.
It's not worse to be in the conversation and not get it done.
Right.
I mean, the worst possible thing
there.
is apathy of a team that's just dreadful.
Well, then you're just the Browns.
But I would be disappointed. For sure.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we got to go into the YouTube chat. You can get in with us at 610-632-0975. Dave B. Ray is correct on this one, but I also saw, I believe it was our guy, Jay King, that said, no, they'll be good and got 1 Super Bowl. That's good enough.
I mean, there are a lot of people that's their only Super Bowl. They've only seen 2, and they might.
Well, yeah, and some people said all I want is 1.
And they're
you got 2
gonna,
now. So
they're going to go. And 2017 was almost like, wait, what? This is amazing. This is happening?
Yeah. But now you're set up, and you've seen what it takes to set up, and you've seen Roseman do it before and do it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
We got new elevated expectations
That's
here.
right, rise up, everybody.
It used to be in the top dog. All right, coming up. We got into a little bit of Phillies. I know some on the phone lines right now want to get into the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski, his legacy is going to be defined by what? Basically, if they don't ever get it done, this is where I think his legacy may be defined. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Take you through the midday show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Phils dropped their first series in August. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. Phils lost yesterday to the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 8-0. Christopher Sanchez got the start on the mound. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings pitched. The game got out of hand, though, when Jordan Romano came out of the bullpen. He went 2/3 of an inning, allowed 4 runs in those 2/3. Not that it mattered much anyways. The Phils bats only came through with 3 hits total for the game last night. Phils continue their road trip tonight, beginning a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Yes, Thursday night baseball is back in Philadelphia. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound tonight. First pitch is at 6:45. The Eagles continue their joint practices today against the Cleveland Browns before their matchup on preseason game number 2 on Saturday. Jeff McClain of CBS Sports was at the first joint practice yesterday, and he said this offensive line could be the catalyst for another great rushing attack in 2025.
I was extremely impressed with what the entire offensive line was doing. They created some holes for Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, and A.J. Dillon that impressed me enough where I can convince myself, okay, this run game is going to be really good again.
And in some Sixers news, Nick Nurse yesterday said he's unsure if Joel Embiid is going to be ready to go when Sixers training camp opens up. This update was brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Midday show here on The Fanatic. Amy Fedul, myself, Ray Dunn, Brendan Gunn producing. And we're going to get to, there's something I said a couple weekends ago where I thought maybe the legacy of Dave Dombrowski would rest on this. Watching last night, and especially watching that grand slam go over the fence, I might change my line of thinking on where the legacy rests. But before we get to that, we've been having this conversation early. I saw this ESPN story that the Eagles are the top of the NFL power rankings for the future, not just for this year. You'd expect it coming off a Super Bowl, but a young Super Bowl winning team, a lot of expectations for what you're going to do over the next 5, 6, 7 years, and for good reason. I mean, you look at this team and the way it's set up, I think we all expect a long-term viable contender right now. And it just reminds me back to when the Phillies were that type of team, 2007, 2011. We all look back at that and say, well, how did they not just get one more?
Right.
There's even Eagles fans that'll tell you if Alshon catches that pass, they should have had 2 Super Bowls. That Nick Foles would have done it twice. And, I think that's a little bit further fetched than what we could say from 2008, 2007 to 2011.
I think you could say 22. They could have won that one.
Oh, they could have won that one.
Like that, sure. You could have 2. You could have 3 right now, but not because.
And you could have 2 in this era,
yeah,
which also
exactly.
probably leads to the idea of.
I think that's where a lot of it comes from, and that's where it comes from for the 07 to 2011, because you should have had 09 for the Phillies. You should have had that.
Or
there. It was gift wrapped for you.
Or 2011.
Or 2011.
That still ruined my childhood. That's the Cardinals. That's Howard goes down. Yeah.
Halladay.
Yeah. That
Jim.
What was your childhood, Ray? How old are you? But I'm curious because we've kind of gone back and forth on this. But Brendan Gunn on the show today. Hello. Great to see you.
What's going on?
Good to have you.
You hear
Long
me
time
say
no
this.
see.
And I'm curious how you feel about whether or not you would be disappointed if it was only one Super Bowl from Hurts and Sirianni.
Yeah, I think I'd be very disappointed. You look at this defense, they're set up on all 3 levels right now. You got Jalen Carter, who's young. Zach Bond's not so young as the other guys, but you got Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean in the back. You hope a Drew Makuba can pan out. And the way our drafting history as of late has panned out, it looks like we're going to have some studs here for a long time. Ojomo's coming on. You heard Lay Johnson yesterday, says the guy's a beast. And then on offense, that's kind of where my concerns for the future come in, because the contracts are going to sway to that defensive side of the football. Can Howie restock that cupboard in 3 years? Right now, the next 2 years, while you still have A.J. Brown here, Devontae Smith and all that, before they have to make the tough decisions, that's when the Super Bowl has to come in my mind, next 2 years. And then I have to see if they can restock that cupboard on offense before I say 5, 6 years in a row.
Well, trust me, they have a wide receiver for you that is young, that they absolutely love.
They're all young. All the receivers are young. People think A.J. Brown is this guy that's in his 30s. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's 27. I just don't know if they're going to be able to pay both those guys once Jalen Carter comes up, once Q comes up, Cooper DeJean comes up. They're not going to be able to have all of those guys. Saquon Barkley comes off in a couple of years, but
funny because I know you didn't actually click the link to this story, but you went down the path that this story went. Am I correct about that? Yeah. Okay. I knew for a fact. I was like, he saw the intro of this. He knows exactly how it feels about it. He's like, the bold prediction on this story. The Eagles will trade wide receiver A.J. Brown before the 2027 season. It will be a shock. Brown will be coming off 2 more seasons of exceptional play, will be considered a major asset for the win-now team that acquires him. But general manager Howie Roseman decided to move on and get draft assets before Brown's decline sets in, which is kind of where you line up with your line of thinking long-term.
Yeah.
This is not, to be very clear, us saying that they should go about trading A.J. Brown in any respect.
Do not associate me with that sentence at all.
Don't associate me with it. I'm just saying, I just read it before the 2027 season. Amy, what year is it? We got 2 years before we start talking about that.
I don't want to talk about it in 2027 either.
I don't want to either, but the reality of the cap, we get to there when we get there, all right? You and I will do the show. We'll break it down when it happens, all right?
2027, mark it down.
Mark it down. We'll be working together for that one. But that to me, when you mentioned that, that's a part of why right now the urgency is this next couple of years.
Next 2 years for me. You got to go out there and win it. And I think they have as good a shot as anybody in the NFL to do it. It's just hard to do it. So right now, I would be disappointed. When I look back on that Phil's run, I'm a little bit disappointed from 07 to 09, but I still take in 08, and it's awesome. It hurt more at the moment than it did 15 years later not getting to me at least.
Yes, and I want to be very clear. I already saw it from Andrew. Ray wants to trade AJ. I am not that guy. We are not that.
Don't
yeah, you know what? Yeah. These call letters don't do that. All right, let's move on with that. All right, so To the Phillies real quick. And I do see Greg, Dave, we're going to get to you. We're going to get to the phone lines here at 610-632-0975 on that question of has this team already accomplished everything you need to in this era of Hurts and Sirianni. I said a couple weeks ago I thought Dave Dombrowski's legacy would come down to his faith in the outfield that he's constructed. 2023, you think about the end of that season where they just went full defense in center and left. Look at 2024, Austin Hayes. We could debate what he could have been without the kidney. That obviously played into a role, so he tried to improve it. He tries to improve it again at this deadline with Bader. So, and I look at that outfield now, and we still have questions, concerns.
He initially tried to improve it with Kepler.
Right. Well,
Don't forget that.
That leads me to where I'm going with this. I watched Romano give up that grand slam, and I was like, man, if this team doesn't get it done, it's not the outfield he's going to be defined by. He's going to be defined by $22 million that he spent this offseason. And I understand why they didn't want to commit anything long-term this year with guys coming off the books this year. And you want to be able to have the flexibility to keep a Schwarber around. You want to have the flexibility to keep Realmuto around. And also the flexibility to reshape the team if it didn't look the way you wanted to this season. But it did put you in a bind for this season in terms of addressing the needs you have. The $22 million he spent, which given they're over the luxury tax, I guess would be more than just $22 million. But that's for Middleton's pockets, not mine. Kepler, Romano, Ross. That $22 million could end up being his legacy here. Is that too much to say? His legacy in baseball is obviously secure. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best executives of the 21st century. He's done a very good job in terms of, I think, getting the Phillies up to speed with teams in the 21st century. But his legacy here for, I think, a lot of people might be how he spent that $22 million.
Yeah, because there's guys he could have signed or kept, and he chose not to get maybe deals. I mean, Jeff Hoffman, obviously, I think is one of the biggest ones. And when you saw that what the Blue Jays gave me, you're like, oh, okay, well, they weren't going to pay that. But then when you think about it in the scenario of putting that money, what does Hoffman get, like $7 million this year? It's a 3-year, $33 million deal. So whatever, I can't remember how it doesn't matter. But when you look at like something like that, it's not only that he gave the money to somebody that probably should not have had it, but it's also he didn't give it to somebody that they could have given it to.
The I guess levels to this thinking to this. We all were upset about Hoffman beginning of the season. Estevez ended up being the one this year.
Yeah, you're right.
Like Estevez ended up being the one. As much, it's hilarious. Hoffman the other night, like with the 5 walks.
Yeah,
and like my buddy texted me.
We're all like, oh, we've seen that before.
Right, my buddy texted me, or actually no, I think I was at his part when this happened. I forget. We were having a back and forth about it, and he's like, yeah, you just know Thompson's keeping Hoffman in there after the 5 walks. I was like, you're just a hater, dude. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's come on. I can't fight you on that, but you're just a hater on that one.
Estevez was one. You can even go back to like Sir Anthony maybe.
But how do you, I'm curious how people view where his legacy will be defined. Because I was thinking it was the outfield, and I'm thinking that now it's just this offseason.
I think it is too.
That this offseason is what it was?
I think it's going to be the particular offseason because you saw how everything went against the Diamondbacks. You struck gold with the Astros series, and you go to the World Series good times. But then when you look at how they should have beaten the Diamondbacks, and it was because of the way that your bullpen was constructed, and you didn't go out and address it in a way that was meaningful. I think that is going to be what comes back to bite them.
All right. You heard what Amy had to say there. You get in with us at 610-632-0975. Coming up, we heard from Nick Sirianni, and there is one man that this team just adores in that wide receiver room. Someone's writing a story on him, and also everybody wants to give you the story on him. He's having the camp to end all camps. He had the big catch in the preseason game, and no, I'm not talking about Darius Cooper. This man blocks on running plays like you've never seen before.
He can high-point a ball that we've never seen the likes of.
It's amazing. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. We're hanging out with you middays, 97.5 The Fanatic. Amy with us the rest of the week, which,
right.
amazingly, just tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's it.
That's it. And hopefully, at some point this week, we're going to be able to do our W's and L's for the Sixers season. I'm really looking forward to it. Or name the starting five, where we do a segment where we just tell you which five we expect on the floor for each game. That's programming tease for tomorrow.
So what was it? I want to say it was 58 different lineups last year.
So I think this year,
a record.
If we ballpark it as like 42, we can come up with the 42 different lineups for all 82 games.
Don't put that into the universe.
I'm not trying to
Don't
put it into the universe.
say that.
Just saying. Coming up, speaking of Amy Fedul, 11:30, we got Rapid Fire with Fedul. We got 5 questions for her, 1 minute apiece, to see what she thinks about a variety of things. And I'm just curious about it. It's not really necessarily that I'm curious. I'm curious what Amy thinks of it. It's just things that are in my mind.
I like it.
It's like, someone's like, oh, yeah, why not? All right. I want to get to the phone lines here because we open up this idea. Has this team already accomplished everything you need them to in this era with regards to the Eagles? Because a lot of you said, get me a Super Bowl, I'm good. Well, you got a Super Bowl in 17. Now you got a Super Bowl from this group. And ultimately, there are people that look back through 2007, 2011 Phillies and say, yeah, they gave me everything I got. Everything, I got the one I needed. People will push back on the idea that we should have wanted more because it's an organization that's only won 2. You got 1. It's tough to win more than 1 as a group. It's tough to climb that mountain multiple times. I think if this Eagles team didn't do it again, we'd feel like there was something left behind there. But let's go out to Bethlehem and talk with our guy, Greg. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Morning, guys. I include you, Amy, in that because I didn't know how to group you two, so I just called you guys. I hope you don't mind.
Nope, that is A-okay. It's an all-encompassing term.
You're the most beautiful guy.
Well, thank you.
Greg, what do we got in terms of the sports today?
I know. The reports from the joint practice, I thought, and I'm a Jalen Hurts fan, but, I've heard at least 2 guys now say he's holding the ball too long. And if I remember correctly, I thought that there was that complaint last year and maybe the year before. And the thought was this year they're going to go over the middle more. And the worst thing to do if you're trying to go over the middle is to hold the ball too long because the window is going to close. So I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate criticism of his game from last season, holding the ball too long. I think their passing game, that's the one thing you want to see grow from last year, this year, is that in-rhythm passing. I think that's where they can get better as an offense from a season ago, and that's like the next level for Hurts in terms of what he needs to accomplish out there. I will say, I understand they take a lot from these joint practices. I understand a lot is made of these joint practices because it's the only football we're being fed right now. Greg, if you lost sleep last night over it, I would suggest taking a deep breath and just turn it over on the other side of the bed and getting some good night's sleep because I'm not losing sleep over it.
No, I didn't lose sleep over it, but it's just a concern. I expected for some reason from the earlier reports that, Hurts had turned that page. And, personally, I think it has to do somewhat with his height. I don't know how you see over 6'6" guys if you're his height. You're going to have windows.
I get it. Greg, are you concerned about Hurts?
No, he's gonna perform well. I just think that the idea that we're going to have a lot of success over the middle, I haven't seen that yet.
So I see where you're going, Greg. I appreciate the phone call. I understand what you're saying. Like maybe they will not have that passing game over the middle that we continue to seek for. And maybe you're saying that's indicative of the fact that he's a shorter quarterback that can't see over the line.
He's not Drew Brees.
Right.
He's not Russell Wilson.
I see where he's coming from. I disagree with the notion that he's presenting here. It does kind of seem like he's concerned about Hurts.
He was like, I'm a Hurts fan, but he's holding on to the ball too long in the one joint practice that they had, and that was a concern last year. And then if you're going to throw over the middle, you can't see over the 6'6" guy. Well, first of all, Mailata is 6'8", but he could see over Mekhi Becton just fine last year. He's 6'8". Mailata was still there.
He was much more conservative with the football last year than we've seen. Like, after the first 4 weeks, when they went to go run the ball, they realized their way to win the game. He wasn't putting it in harm's way the way that he did the beginning of the season and certainly in 2023. I think not going over the middle of the field has a lot more to do with that than it has to do with his actual physical traits.
Yeah, and okay, so who goes over the middle? Which and what offensive set do you have? With whom are you going over the middle to?
I mean, everyone wants the A.J. Brown slant. That's kind of,
Right.
I think, the golden.
So you're I mean, but if you play that out, you're concerned for A.J. Brown. You don't think that he's going to be able to find A.J. Brown?
I think he's going to be able to find him.
Exactly. I think he's going to be able to find A.J. Brown just fine.
I see the concern because
Dallas Goedert, you think he'll be able to find him?
in-rhythm passing is something I want to see improve this season. So I understand where Greg's coming from in that regard.
Yeah.
I just don't think yesterday against the Browns defense,
Yeah. I get
worrying
it.
yourself over what's going to be Hurts this season is a little much. Like that's too reactive for me. And I understand that there might be people today that are freaking out.
Yeah,
that
'cause
are.
he did not have a good practice allegedly.
Yeah.
But isn't that the point of it? They set up scenarios. Vic Fangio says it for defensively, right? We set up scenarios so guys can be evaluated, a.k.a. we can watch them fail. In a game, you want them to succeed because they're playing for your team.
We're trying things.
Exactly.
We're
I
talking
get it.
about practice, man.
Practice?
All right, I gave him a
We're
shot.
talking about practice.
Not a game.
All right, speaking of practice, the darling of practice, the darling of everyone's dreams.
The darling of press conference.
Yes, we've heard from Jalen Hurts, Kevin Patullo, and Nick Sirianni all over the last 24 hours. They have all spoken about one man specifically. I don't know if they talked about, Dickerson also, I guess, probably landed in all their press conferences as well, just because of the news. But you would think all-pro guard who gets hurt definitely has to be a part of all three of those pressers. Fourth string receiver? Maybe not. We're desperate for offensive content. I'll explain this coming up. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Take you through middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The bats go cold in Cincinnati. I'm Brendan going with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phils lost to the Cincinnati Reds yesterday by a score of 8-0. Christopher Sanchez got the start on the mound. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings pitched. The game got out of hand though when Jordan Romano came in for 2/3 of an inning and he left with 4 runs on the board. Not that it mattered much. The Phils bats only came through with 3 hits total last night. Phils continue their road trip tonight, beginning a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 6:45. The Eagles continue their joint practices today against the Cleveland Browns before they match up for preseason game number 2 on Saturday. Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports was at the first joint practice yesterday, and he said this offensive line looked like it could be the catalyst to another great rushing attack in 2025.
I was extremely impressed with what the entire offensive line was doing. They created some holes for Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, and A.J. Dillon that impressed me enough where I can convince myself, okay, this run game's going to be really good again.
And in some Sixers news, head coach Nick Nurse said yesterday he is unsure if Joel Embiid will be ready for training camp when it begins in the next couple of weeks. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic coming up. He's got to be a massive part of the offense at this point. I don't know how else to put it.
If he's not featured every single time.
He doesn't catch
What
100
are we
passes
doing?
this year. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn, taking you through the midday show. And we open up the idea today with just this ESPN future power rankings here. They got the Eagles as the top team. Not surprising, but also just makes me think long term, big picture for this
it's future power rankings. It's not right now.
Right. And
Which
even right
obviously-
now,
yeah.
I think the Ravens on a couple different sites have gotten the overall.
because of all the Super Bowls that they've been to.
Right, yes. Everyone really wants the AFC to change. That's what this is. The
They're tired
Bills,
of
the
it.
Ravens, they're tired of the Chiefs. I aspire to the days where people will be like, yeah, it's got to be someone else out of the NFC except the Eagles, right? Which I think we could see that fatigue build in if the Eagles win the NFC again this year. Because then that would be 3 and 4 years. And then the fatigue would start to set in.
Exactly. Yeah, because it was the Chiefs, and then the Bills will be in there. We have the Bengals a little bit, but obviously I don't think that they're going to be coming back anytime soon. But the Ravens,
We saw those starters against Tanner McKee. So
but they're fine. Fine offensively. Defensively, they got some real issues.
unless Tanner McKee's top 15 quarterback, 6'10", 6'3". I'm kidding. Please.
There's no way
Don't clip that, Brandon Dutz.
There's no way that Tanner McKee couldn't be a starting quarterback though in this league. I refuse to believe that.
Look at the Saints quarterback room.
Look at the Browns quarterback room.
Well, the Browns right now are legitimately out of healthy and also not
Of age.
76-year-old
Exactly.
quarterbacks.
They ran Tyler Huntley, I think, is the only person. He might not even be healthy.
Yeah. I mean, Shador Sanders now hurt. Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco is, 70 in football years. Good for him, though, for still doing it. I know we got the people right now that are listening out in Audubon like, how dare
Shout
you take
out.
a shot at our guy?
When he talked after practice, we ran the sound last night on Bird's Huddle, and I was like, I know who Joe Flacco is. I worked at Baltimore, and obviously we all know who Joe. But if you just walked up and you didn't know, you would absolutely think that was a coach talking. There's no way you would have thought that was a quarterback.
Hey, listen, if he ever wants
Active quarterback.
If he ever wants to work with his old
Starting.
buddy Casey Keeler, I got a great place where he could go do that.
Starting quarterback.
That's right. I'll work Temple football in the first hour of the show. You better believe it. All right.
Get your shirt on.
I got a little Temple basketball shirt on. I don't know, feeling owls. With the trivia I did last night had it was local schools and mascots, and they were like cherry and white owls. You better believe my entire table was ready to go for
crush
that
one.
Yeah.
What do you know about Zion Stanford?
He's a good dude. I'm excited for him. Hey, man, he's getting his
Cats.
bag. Yeah, he's good for him. He had a nice buzzer beater. He got me on Sports Center Top 10. I don't have any problems with the guy. It's the way college basketball is played now, man. That's the way it is. Villanova guy that went to Temple. Biggest fraud in the world. We also got into the Phillies and the disgraceful loss last night.
Catching strays.
He brought up a Villanova player that had transferred from Temple to Villanova.
Just wanted to know what you knew about him.
No, you're the bigger fraud, not Zion. I like Zion. I don't like you. The thing that we brought up with the Phillies, just a tough game last night. We went in the fact they can't win the third game of the series for some reason. It's 15 and 20 now, and the third game's a 3-game sets, just ridiculous. But I wanted to get back to the Phillies here with Dave, because I know Dave big on the phones and big on the Phils. 610-632-0975. You get in. Dave, hop on. Dave, you there?
I'm here. How you doing, guys?
How are you?
Good,
Ray? Amy, it's great to hear you on the radio. I love when you're on the radio on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Thanks so much.
Oh, so I got a couple issues, and obviously we're going to start with the Phillies right now.
Okay.
And, obviously the road trip started out great. You just go out and beat the Nationals 3 out of 4. You come home with 7 wins on this road trip, you're going to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my personal opinion, Amy, this is what I think. These are 3 players that are going to have to contribute to the Phillies going in September. Alec Boehm coming off the injured list. Jose Alvarado coming off the suspended list. He's got to give me the 7th inning in the bullpen. And obviously Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola could be a big piece of this team going forward for the last month of the year.
I mean, he has to be.
I agree.
I think he has to be.
I
at
think
this
he's your
point.
third starter at this point.
Without a doubt. And I actually want to touch some 76ers, Amy. I know I heard Brendan's update, and I'm not happy about what I just heard about Joel. This is what I feel the 76ers have to do going forward this year. Nick Nurse has to go with a strong guard offense, he's going to have shooters. He's going to have Mackey. He's going to have McCain back. He's going to have VJ Etzcom. You're going to have shooters. You might just have to outscore teams to win games this year.
I mean, I think that's, yeah. In theory, I hear you. I don't know that you can play all three of those guys at the exact same time. You also forgot about Quentin Grimes, who I do think they're going to re-sign. But I hear you.
And I hope they do.
I hope so too. Offense is going to be the key. Defensively, they're definitely going to struggle with those guys. Though I think Edgecombe is a pretty good defender. I haven't seen him obviously at the NBA level, but yeah. I mean, it's going to be problematic to score points, because when you have all of those scoring, sometimes you have limited. I don't know how else to say it. Like you're not going to be able to move the ball as much if you have no action at the 4 and 5 position. But
right, but you see what Golden State did. I understand we don't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson with the Splash Brothers, but how many games they win without a center, without a true center? Now they had Draymond, whatever, but they won games with their shooting. That's how they won games. And this is what I feel Nick Nurse has to do this year, because he's going to be limited with we don't know what Joel is going to be. We don't know if Paul George is coming back. We don't know who's going to be in the front court. So I just think it's going to have to be a lot of shooters and just outscore teams every game. I love you guys. Thank you so much for putting me on. And let's go, Phils. Let's win another World Series.
Absolutely, Dave. Appreciate you checking in. Yeah, they got it. I said 3 down in D.C. You said you're looking for the full 4 games.
I'm going greedy.
Unless it's the 4th game, in which case I'll be disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you will be disappointed.
They lose games
they win
1, 2, or 3, I'm fine. If they win all 3 to start the series and lose the 4th game, that's where I'll be disappointed on it. But good to hear from Dave on that one. I think a big part of that is you don't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Or Draymond. Draymond, you really can't just throw off the list there.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Listen, I do not like Draymond. I'm not a fan. But if he was on my team in the role that he plays, you have to respect the role that he plays on your team. He can score. He can certainly defend. But, yeah, you're talking about 2 of the best three-point shooters to ever play the game, the best in Steph Curry, and probably a top 5, maybe a top 3 three-point shooter, and Klay Thompson. This guy set the records. When one said it, the other one broke it. Like, that's hilarious for threes in a game. So, yeah, I do think they're going to have to score quite a bit, but you can't just have nothing for 4 and 5. You can't just...
We'll talk about that center position coming up. That's a tease. I might just give away one of the 5 questions that we got coming up at 11:30.
Schedule is coming out today, so we'll do our wins and losses.
Yes, we're doing wins and losses and starting
tomorrow.
Lineups. Tomorrow in the 12 o'clock hour, we will attack all 82 Sixers games, complete with breakdowns of who we believe will play in each game and whether or not they will win or lose that game. That is tomorrow, right here, middays, The Fanatic. You're tuned in, by the way, to WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Now, I would love to just get a breakdown of one of the exciting players of training camp. And I want to put it this way. We are so starved for something different on the offensive side of the football because we know the players. And when I mean something different,
we know how good they are.
We want some storyline to follow. Darius Cooper does something, and immediately it's like, this is exciting.
Will Shipley
runs for 38 yards.
Let's go.
This is awesome. Because none of you, with all due respect to Tyler Steen, Kenyon Green, Brett Toth, anyone that wants to be in that right guard competition, none of you are that invested in the right guard competition. That seems like it's over.
It's done.
If we want to have that talk with, hey, so what do you think about right guard? A lot of you are like, well, all right, Tyler Steen won. Cool. Moving on.
Check.
There is a vacuum of offensive storylines with this team outside of can the passing game be better, and we do that talking point a million times. We've done it a million times. We have now found how to fill that void in our lives. And the beat writers have found how they're going to fill that void, and we've also found a guy that I think Nick Sirianni has a massive man crush on. Mm-hmm. And that is one Johnny Wilson. Over the last 24 hours, we've heard from Jalen Hurts, Kevin Patullo, and Nick Sirianni. How many times in those pressers did we get Johnny Wilson questions? How about the open? The start.
The very first.
The first thing that we got really of value from Jalen Hurts yesterday. What do you have to say? Who was he talking about?
I mean, Johnny made a big-time catch today. Always good to see that. Just seeing him show up. You know, we all have some things we have to work on. He's got some things he needs to work on, but he's also taking advantage of some key opportunities and big-time moments. And so we just want to continue to build.
All right, Jalen. We got it. It's a good conversation about the fact that Johnny Wilson had a great day. But we really want to dive more into what you think about Johnny Wilson. Tell me more, Jalen.
I think for Johnny, it's not hard for him to use his body. It's more so just finishing and continue to take advantage of those good position plays where he's in position to make a play. And so as a quarterback, I want to help him out and put him in those positions and obviously on their end finishing.
Jalen, that is great. I am so glad that you feel like he is able to physically dominate and you're able to get that ball wherever he needs it. Now, Jalen, we're going to go talk about some other things, but when we ask you about your confidence in your offensive coordinator, I also want to know about your confidence in one of the other receivers you're seeing out there on the field. So tell me a little bit about who you're confident in this offense.
It's a big difference, I think, considering that's not what we did this go-around, and just the mentality coming in, just going out there and playing and letting it all come to us. And I think we will look back on it. There'll be some things that we want to improve on and talk about. And I think there'll be some things that we say, man, we're in a good spot in this. And so that's what training camp is for. It's about going out there as a play caller, going out there as a quarterback and as a unit, and being curious, playing the game curiously, and taking those chances and doing what you want to do so you can see where you are and what you can do. And so I've built a ton of confidence in KP. I've built a ton of confidence, and seeing Johnny do what he did in the last week's game and seeing him make those plays now again, that's just very encouraging. And so just continue to build, and then once we become more intentional about, let's seize this and let's attack this and let's do that, then you're kind of in a different space.
Yes, that's right. Big takeaways. We're confident in Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, and confident in Johnny Wilson. Well, that offensive coordinator was asked about the wide receiver room, said that he was excited about Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, hanging out in the room, trying to get the guys going, and then was asked about who else?
Why? Who else?
But Johnny Wilson and Anais Smith.
Year 2 is a big difference for them. The game does slow down a little bit. You have a feel for, the pace of it, the way it's played, what the defenses are doing, how guys react to things. So I do think they've improved from that standpoint, and they feel more comfortable. You can definitely see that in practices and in the game the other day, to where the game just kind of slowed down. They're processing the plays better. They're in year 2 of the offense, essentially, as far as, the verbiage. And so you're able to be more comfortable and do what you do best. So I think it's been a good thing for them to have that extra year.
And that goes to the part of Patullo being a more polished Sirianni. He just really got to the point.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, these guys, it's good to be in year 2. You know a lot more about this league.
Mm-hmm.
But that led to the granddaddy of them all today. Nick Sirianni was asked about Johnny Wilson. And remember, Nick Sirianni was wide receiver coach.
Yes, offensive coach.
Loves great wide receiver play. And Johnny Wilson has become just the darling for this head coach. Listen to Sirianni wax poetic about this guy.
You'd like to, Johnny's can be used as an example, meaning Johnny got drafted as a wide receiver, but he contributed as a rookie in other ways, right? As playing wide receiver, but maybe not in the ways he contributed at Florida State. He had to find his role that was for this team and also on special teams. And I think that's a great example of how are you contributing, right? How are you playing your role? Are you mastering your role and doing what's best for the football team? And I think Johnny's a good example of that. And then that gives you time when you're able to take the role that you have and excel at it. Well, that gives you time to develop in other areas, like a pass catcher. And I think that we're seeing that. I think we're seeing him make some plays as a receiver now, expanding his role. And we'll see how that continues to go. But I think that's just a good example of what I talked about. And then also just the patience that this league, right? Sometimes we forget that it takes time to develop as a player, as a coach, and all sorts of things. And so, yeah, I think we're continuing to see him grow, though.
That is high praise.
Johnny Wilson.
Does he see himself in Johnny Wilson? He says it takes time to develop as a coach as well. That's what he says at the end.
I think
Does he see a little bit of himself in a Johnny Wilson? They put him in a box, and now he's coming out of it.
He sees a lot in Johnny Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Maybe, though, Begun. Maybe.
I think he sees, if I was given time and given the patience, could I be Johnny Wilson?
Well, that's you do have coaches that see, wow, if I had that height or if I had that whatever skill level. Johnny Wilson's a big dude.
Everybody loves a tall guy. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. Johnny Wilson's got the height thing going on. Everyone's lost their mind over it. It's funny to me. It is funny to me that over 24 hours, that is what the storyline is. Like, offensively,
it was a majority of the questions offensively.
The Eagles are so set offensively that we've spent so much time talking about Darius Cooper, Will Shipley,
And that's who you've seen out
and Johnny
there
Wilson.
for some of the parts.
Right, because they don't need to play anyone else. What am I,
Correct.
concerned about A.J. Brown?
Yeah, that's
Concerned about Devontae Smith? Now, speaking of that concern, when Sirianni spoke today, there was a question posed about the amount of practice time they've got.
right, because
And
AJ hasn't practiced in close to a week now, I think.
And if that bothers you. We'll get to that coming up, what Sirianni had to say. Also reset where we started this show, coming up at 11:30. It's sweeping the nation. Radio Inc. put out a story last night that the new segment of the country,
Yeah, people are
the
excited.
biggest segment right now going in radio, is Rapid Fire with Fedul. That's what I read online, on the internet. People were saying it. People are excited for it. That's coming up at 11:30.
One
She's
person
Amy
said
Fedul.
it.
I'm Ray Dunn here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Right, midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Alongside Amy Fedul, I'm Ray Dunn, hanging out with you. Brendan Gunn producing the program today. We'll have Gunn at 1.
Gunn at 1.
Today, which he seemed a little too excited about.
Oh, I know I'm going to get under people's skin with this one. But.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So me specifically, like, is this something that you think is going to annoy me specifically, or will I
Probably
understand?
you, probably Amy. I think there's a lot of people out there that agree with me that are scared to say it. So we'll get to it at 1.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Look at how bold he is.
That's a good
coming
tease,
up
though.
At 1 o'clock, also NFL notes at noon. And I'm curious if something with the Dallas Cowboys will be in there. But I listen, this is, like I said, I just hand things off. I'm like, hey, man,
here's
you
your
go do
notes.
your segment. You
NFL
give me what
notes.
you think's important from the NFL. All right, so speaking of what's important, today, Sirianni speaking to the media, and we heard that earlier at 9:40. He was asked about the fact that Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown have not practiced a ton together. And I'll be honest with you, maybe this is my overall just calm demeanor with this team at this point.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean much to me.
No.
Like, none of this... a lot of people are obviously reacting to what they heard yesterday about, like, the joint practice and Hurts and the performance and who hasn't been there for the receivers, who has been for the receivers. That's probably why we're talking more about Johnny Wilson, because you haven't seen the other two guys even practice. Am I wrong not to have really any concern?
I mean, okay, let's look at it, though. When, for lack of a better example, when the Patriots were going and Julian Edelman didn't practice with Tom Brady some of the time, do you think that they were like, ooh, hope they can get on the same page?
Well, I mean, we're so deep into this. I get there's a new offensive coordinator.
And that's another thing. And I get that we're not looking at it too discerningly because it's still very vanilla. But what they're running in some of these joint practices is going to be similar to what they run in a game. No one's come away and been like, wow, that's a brand new wrinkle. It's a similar offensive scheme. Mm-hmm. Fedul has said that. Sirianni said that. Jalen Hurts has said it. Like, yeah, some of it's a little bit different. But we didn't hear that same verbiage when it was, from Brian Johnson to Kellen Moore. That was like a wholesale change. We haven't heard that. So I don't know how different it is.
It doesn't feel like it would be, and it doesn't feel like something I would lose, like I'm going to lose sleep over. It was a question that was posed today, and I understand why from the reporter side you posed that question, just asking if Sirianni is concerned about it, because if he gives you that concern, then you have something there. He doesn't show any concern. I can't really tell you that I'm too concerned about it.
Right.
And that was like one of the things that they, again, tried to give Sirianni today. He's a master at saying nothing. He really is good at it.
It's impressive.
At saying nothing. He's not a master of nothing. I want to say that. He's obviously done a good job. Won a Super Bowl. I don't, I get scared because, it's right.
It's such good head coach talk.
Yeah.
You can always just, you say something without actually saying anything.
Right. Good work by him. Now, we opened the show with this idea, and I do want to I see the text line is engaged a little bit on this. The idea of the Eagles and their future outlook. The fact that this ESPN Power Rankings has them as the team best set for the future in the NFL. And just this idea of being a little greedy. Would you be disappointed if they didn't get another Super Bowl in this run? And I do think it's kind of shedding that skin of being the city that would just wanted one. And like, we just give me one and I'll be okay. And starting to understand that you do live in a city where you have one of the gold standard organizations in football. And it's no longer, I just need to aspire to grab one. It's look at now who your contemporaries are. Look at your contemporaries of teams that have won multiple Super Bowls in the 21st century.
You want to be with the Chiefs.
You want to be, you want to be one of those teams. You want to be one of those models. So go into the text line here. Be God, what do we got on that?
No name on this one, but they said when it's all said and done, I'll be happy with just one, but I want a dynasty in Philadelphia in my lifetime, and this is the best shot for it.
I mean, it certainly looks like it. The best shot for a dynasty in our lifetime. Like, I can't bank on what the future holds. Like, obviously, I think the Phillies will always spend with Middleton when they have this core intact, but I think that's something to look at. Maybe they have one down the line. I hesitate. They haven't won one yet with this core, so you can't really talk dynasty until you get one. Sixers, we know where they're at right now. The Flyers, it's a question of your faith in what this regime could do, but they don't have one in hand with this current group. Like I would say,
the Eagles are absolutely flirting with dynasty.
Right. And I want to really quick clear this up on the text line because I see we have texter on caller crime here. I might have to stand up for my guy Greg.
Yes, we got somebody checking in. Also, no name on this one, but they're checking in from Illinois. Is that guy really complaining about Hurts holding on to the ball too long? Oh my Lord, Philadelphia, what are we doing?
Well, welcome.
The old two things can be true.
Warming,
He does hold on to the ball too long.
But you don't need to be worried about it.
He makes it work while doing that.
August.
I saw I think it was, I brought up Jake King now a million times, who's on our YouTube chat. It was like, yeah, really had a tough time seeing over the offensive line in the Super Bowl that he won.
or in the NFC Championship game where he dismantled the Commanders.
While we're on this future conversation, coming up, 5 years from now, you can guarantee 3 current Eagles are still Eagles.
Oh, that's a good one.
Who are the 3 players that you would guarantee? She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. This is the Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils dropped their first series in August. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phils lost to the Cincinnati Reds last night by a score of 8-0. Christopher Sanchez got the start on the mound. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings pitched. The game got out of hand, though, when Jordan Romano came in for 2/3 of an inning, and he left with 4 more runs on the board. Not that it mattered much. The Phillies bat only managed to come through with 3 total hits last night. Phils continue that road trip tonight, beginning a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Thursday baseball again for the first time since June 26th. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitches this evening at 6:45. The Eagles continue their joint practices today against the Cleveland Browns before they match up for preseason game number 2 on Saturday. Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports was at the first joint practice yesterday, and he said the offensive line could be the catalyst to another huge rushing attack in 2025.
I was extremely impressed with what the entire offensive line was doing. They created some holes for Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, and A.J. Dillon that impressed me enough where I can convince myself, okay, this run game's going to be really good again.
And in some Sixers news, head coach Nick Nurse said yesterday he's unsure if Joel Embiid will be ready when training camp begins in October. This update was brought to you by the local Rheem Pro partners at thereemteam.com. When you want your home to feel like a dream, it has to be Rheem. Stay cool with the high-efficiency AC system from Rheem, RHEEM. Find your Rheem Pro partner at thereemteam.com. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Middays here on The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn. Amy Fedul with me. Brendan Gum producing the show. And we got Rapid Fire with Fedul coming up at 11:30. And this will be like a bonus question to it. So I posed this before the break.
Yes,
we're talking about the future of the Eagles. And 5 years from now, you can imagine a world in which we're in 2030. That's just the idea of 2030. It's one of those like fake sounding years.
Well, 2000 sounded like that for a while.
Yeah, it did. Right, Brendan Gunn?
So young.
The 2000s sounded fake for a while there, right?
It did.
It's always remember me that Conan O'Brien used to have a sketch in the year 2000. It was great. It's one of my favorite sketches.
Yeah, the year 2000 was a good one. I would actually pro the year 2000. The year
Y2K.
The year 2000 was good for me.
The robots are coming. Ray might be the robot they said was going to take over the world.
That's what Conan and Andy were telling us.
I got people think I'm an industry plant. Does that count?
So young.
All right. So
I get to pick 3.
You get 3 players that you can guarantee in 2030 are members of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, that I can guarantee.
Guarantee.
In 2030.
Guarantee that 2030 you turn on your television or you host Birds Huddle and you're talking about these 3 players. There you go.
Cam Jurgens.
Okay.
I mean, I got to shore up, but they had Jason Kelsey for the longest time.
Yep.
And that was obviously very important.
Very important.
So I'll go Cam Jurgens. I will go Jalen Carter.
All right.
And I will go Quinyon Mitchell.
All right. Very interesting with that one. I have 2 of your players on my list.
Okay. You didn't pick Cam Jurgens.
I did not. No, you can tell by the way I responded to
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't care about the offensive line.
No, not in the slightest. Actually,
So
honestly,
short-sighted on your
honestly, in 5 years, given if Stoutland is still the coach, maybe I should care more about who they have on the offensive line because now, like, you have that kind of blanket Stoutland will figure it out thing. Maybe I should. Maybe these, we don't realize that Stoutland.
Just look at some of the places that
close.
don't have a good offensive line.
Well, yeah, no, I do care who's on the offensive line.
All right.
Being facetious on that one, I absolutely care who's there. But in terms of 3 of the 53 right now, who I would have, Jalen Carter.
Yep.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yep.
And am I crazy to suggest that I would still want the quarterback to be the quarterback in 5 years?
You're not crazy to suggest that at all.
If I could guarantee he's going to be in 5 years, I would guarantee that he's here in 5 years.
Okay.
So those would be my 3. I had a tough time. So I think Carter and Mitchell.
I almost went Devontae.
Devontae's another one. That if I made this a 5-person list, I probably would take an offensive lineman and Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Does Devontae want his money the second time around? He took a team-friendly deal the first time. Does he want to get his money?
I could guarantee he's here. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's all I'm guaranteeing he's here. Jared, trust me, if money is a problem in this, the Jalen Carter guarantee here, I don't want to even talk about how much money. He's going to be making ridiculous money. But I tried my best to line up the 5 years of, like, who would be prime. Like, Carter at that point is 29.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell is somehow, some way, also 29 at that point, and Hurts would be 32, which I think if I extended this to like 7 years,
Yeah. Then
6 years, but I would like to see that 5 years through with Hurts.
Now, is it cheating to say like Jahad Campbell? Because they'll probably pick up his 5th-year option. So
Well, if you think that
if he
right
stays
now,
healthy.
that's who you. Yeah.
but also you have to bank on right now that Jahad Campbell is more valuable in 5 years than Carter, Quinyon, or in Amy's case, Cam. My case,
I think
Hurts.
he shows enough promise where he can go out there and they pick up that 5th-year option. It's a kind of cheap way to look at it, but Jordan Davis has not lived up to that first-round pick necessarily. Okay. They picked up the 5th-year option to see what they can do, and hopefully he develops into that. They sign him long-term. I think that's the worst case outside of injuries.
Give me your 3.
I mean, am I crazy for trying to put Mailata on here? He's 28 right now.
You can do
but
that.
But you look at these left tackles, the right tackles that have played here for, 15-plus years. Look at Lane Johnson, Jason Peters before that. Mailata, I don't see him necessarily going anywhere. He'll be 33 going into that season. Kind of old, but you look at the tackles, like I said, they've been here for a long time. I obviously put Quinyon Mitchell as well and Jalen Carter because they're not letting him go anywhere.
Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Mailata. All right.
So you chose
there's
alignment.
There's 2 that are locks between all of us. I'll be
Jalen
curious
Carter,
if they're locks for everyone else. You can get in on that 610-632-0975, a fun little exercise. Kind of a bonus question to our fun segment here at 11:30. That is sweeping the nation. I saw
Everybody loves it.
Barrett Media actually named it its segment of the week, and we were invited to speak at their convention about just how unconventional and just how creative this idea was that I came up with of Rapid Fire with Fedul. 5 questions, a minute apiece. Let's get to it. All right, let's start with the Sixers. Amy?
Let's do it.
You've heard the update. He's reading it. Nick Nurse, not sure about training camp for Joel Embiid. Let me hear your thoughts on that.
I only have a minute?
Only a minute.
I mean, you were not surprised. We all read the article where Joel Embiid said his knee has been still an issue. He came back too early. We all remember him coming back too early for that Knicks series, pushed it a little too much. Then he played in the Olympics. I'm not going to relitigate any of that stuff.
But however.
No, I mean, obviously it's disappointing. I enjoy when Joel Embiid plays basketball. When he's out on the court, I've never seen anybody play quite like him. It's something that you cannot replicate. And when you have an offense that is so centered around him, sorry for the pun, it is hard to try and solve that. Paul George was brought here to solve that. That was all the talk, right? Paul George, I'm going to be here to help out, spell Joel Embiid. Those are quotes from Paul George, quotes from the front office. I got it. The problem is you can't rely on Paul George now either. So it's a problem. I enjoy when Joel Embiid plays. I like watching him play basketball. I think he plays the game at an exceptionally high level. Even when he's at 70%, I will take Joel Embiid. So it's understandable why he's going to miss. I hope it's a paying a little bit ahead of time so you get something in the end. I'm just very, very concerned that that's not going to be the case. I'm fine if I have to pay the piper in the beginning because I'm going to get him for 60 games this season. I will pay the piper whatever the cost is in September and October. But if it comes February, March, and April and I don't have him still, I'm going to be very sad.
All right, next question for you. The biggest reason you believe the Eagles will go back to the Super Bowl is?
The defense. That's the biggest reason they will go back to the Super Bowl. I don't have any concerns about the offense. I think the offense will be fine. But listen, I went to school at Kentucky, not known for its football, and they had the old adage of like, sometimes air raid, Tim Couch, we're just going to outscore you. It works till it doesn't. You got to find some way to stop somebody. Defense wins championships. I know it's a cliche, but there's a reason it is, and the defense will be the reason they go back to the Super Bowl.
All right, you see Fangio with the masterclass
Love it.
this season. The biggest reason why the Eagles won't win the NFC East is?
I don't believe that to be true. I think that's a trick question.
If they are not to win the NFC East,
injuries.
What would be the biggest reason?
Injuries would be. You would have some catastrophic injuries to key players along the line, to your offense, and certainly to your defense. I think injuries would be the only thing that would be the only thing that would keep them from winning the East.
All right. Eagles schedule. We've looked at it a million times.
Wins and losses down the road.
Road is where I'm going with this. The road trip you would most want to take for this Eagles season.
Hold on. Are they going to? I never want to go to LA.
All right. They are going to Kansas City, Tampa Bay, New York, Minnesota, Green Bay, Dallas, LA, Washington, and Buffalo.
I was going to say Tampa Bay but it's too early for Tampa, and they don't play well there. I hate that. But I think I've never been to Lambeau Field for a game. I'd like to go there. That would be just selfishly me. I don't think it's like particularly scenic. LA would obviously be lovely, but give me Green Bay.
This is Rapid Fire with Fedul, but I'd love to get Brendan Gunn's answer on this one.
Where would I like to go? I'm going to Tampa week 4, so I'm going to see them. I'm going to say that because I am making that trip.
Look at this guy.
There you go.
Look at him.
Going to see our old buddy Josh.
Yeah, tell Josh say hi.
Tell him, Josh.
And congrats to him, by the way. You wouldn't know from social media, but congrats to him. Both the two of them got engaged the same day.
I didn't know.
I'm probably breaking news.
I didn't know that Josh.
I'm probably breaking news to friends of his because it has not been posted anywhere. And the guy, in terms of text, it's okay. I love Josh. He's the man. He's gonna love that he was brought up today on the airwaves.
Shout out to Positive Josh.
Oh, miss that guy. All right, last one for you here, Amy. There are 17 games left in August for your maybe 16. 16 games left in the month of August for the Phillies. Over, under 9.5 wins.
Over. Yeah.
I think this favorable part of the schedule plays well for the Phils.
I like their chances this weekend. They've got a number of those games at home as well. They do have the Mets.
They got Mets in there. They got 3 up in New York. So it goes 4 in D.C., 3 against Seattle at home, 3 against D.C. at home, 3 up in New York, 3 against Atlanta, or excuse me, then 4 against Atlanta at home to
See,
close
there you
that
go.
out.
That's it right there.
All right, so it is 4.
You're doing quick.
I doubted myself because I had 17 down. I was like, wait, there's only 17 days left, but they play today. So it does
Correct.
actually work out. So 17 games, over under 10 and a half.
Oh, you said 9.5.
I did. I changed it because I dropped it for 1 because I dropped it 1. It's all right. We're no longer
Over.
invited to speak at the convention because I screwed up the last question
I was
of this
like, wait
segment.
a minute.
Still going over. All right, 11-6 in the next 17. I like that. We'll run with that.
Okay.
And if they don't, Amy's upset.
What was
Don't disappoint
what,
Amy.
What was your road trip?
I'm going up to New York.
That's the one you want for the Eagles?
Oh, for the Eagles. My road trip, I would like to, I think Lambeau's right. The right answer, I will say, there's a sick, twisted part of me that wants to go up to Buffalo at the end of December.
I mean, that can't.
Does it involve getting a free week of work off because
Yeah.
you'll be stuck up there with a 3-foot
do you just want to
snowstorm?
like jump on tables?
Kind of.
Okay. All right. Listen, that's a valid reason. I just want to go to Lambeau Field. I don't care.
If
What
you
I
see
say.
the beginning of December that I've grown out a
full
very
beard?
thick, full beard, it's because I'm going to use it to keep warm up in Buffalo.
Coming back like Kris Kringle and Santa Claus is coming to town.
Dude, we saw extended family over the weekend, and they were like, "Wow, you got the
Yeah.
Kris Kringle thing going." I'm curious for you. If you could guarantee 3 Eagles are here within 5 years from now, who would those 3 Eagles be? 610-632-0975. Can I go back to the Phillies in a second here? Have we been stumping for the wrong award? And should we be pushing for someone else? I love Kyle Schwarber. But is there someone else on the Phillies right now we should be pushing for their case for a different award? It doesn't have to be one or the other. But I think if I'm going to start campaigning, I think I'm going to start my campaign somewhere else. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. You're tuned in to Middays on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Do you feel unfulfilled? Do your afternoon
The YouTube chat sometimes can get a little distracted.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I do love the conversations they have amongst each other. I will say, in any walk, it's very distracting. Their engagement. Sitting here, it can get quite distracting if you have your eyes on it while you're trying to talk, trying to lead.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I do sometimes sympathize with Bill's struggles. Could we actually dump that audio? I don't want that out there. I don't. No, I'm kidding. He was about to dump it. That would be like the one time I slip and curse on the air is when we have no dump left because I had you dump audio of me being nice to Bill. But following the YouTube chat's fun. By the way, she's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. You're tuned to Middays here on The Fanatic. And I just posed the question, if you could guarantee 3 Eagles are still here by 2030, who would you guarantee? And going down this list, because YouTube chat chimed in after, I don't even know what they were talking about before that. Oh, injuries in the NFL. Jay King, Mailata, Carter, Mitchell. MBD, Carter, Mitchell, Cooper.
Yeah.
So we want to protect 2 defensive backs. That's entirely defensive. MBD sees the entire offense as something you could put together and rebuild.
The 2 offensive linemen, too, is also interesting.
Neal going by Mailata, Carter, Quinion. Where else we got? Carter, Mailata, Lander Dickerson.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
So that's an interesting one there.
See, people value the offensive line, Ray.
I do value the offensive line.
Not enough to put them in your 3.
Sorry, a guy wants a quarterback. A guy that's been compared to Aaron Donald and a shutdown corner. God forbid a guy wants that on his football team. Amy. The 2 of us being annoyed with one another comes off as so fake across the air.
You can't even. No one's buying it. Okay, Ray.
Listen,
you guys.
Amy Fedul drives me nuts. Has anyone ever said that?
I'm sure.
You think?
Yeah. I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure they're out there.
All right, so Carter, Cooper, Mitchell, Quinion. I love this answer from JM because he's just speaking to my heart here. Quinion, Ty Robinson, and Smitty. Which, if you had to put together like the 3 guys on this team who are like, I feel like my guys.
Yes.
Like I love Quinion. Ty Robinson has the single-digit approval of Matt Rule, which to me is the greatest stamp of approval you could ever get.
Yeah, he was great on.
Great preseason over. Trust me, post game with Kevin Cooney, that was one thing I focused heavily in on that game, that post game. And Smitty, I've long said, is the jersey I would get if I were to get another jersey. And it's for a number of reasons. One, he rocks, but also he's kind of a lanky guy, and I feel like my body structure fits well with the Devontae Smith jersey. Like I can't rock the Jordan Davis jersey. It wouldn't look right on me.
Because you would be not emblematic of the person that actually wears that.
I can't rock it.
But you could rock a Quinion. You could rock a Devontae.
Right.
Is AJ out of bounds then?
Yeah, AJ's definitely out of bounds.
Swole.
What about Swole Batman? No one would ever call me Swole Batman.
What about an Elliott?
No.
Braden, man.
Hey, man, he did make that extra point. He did make that extra. Also, by the way, not to brag or anything, I hit one out last night in softball. Those couple days in the gym a week right now, that paying
Tell the
off.
people what it counted for.
An out.
Wait, what?
So they try to discourage you from hitting the ball over the fence because it goes into a road and you could end up hitting a car or you could, hit someone.
Right.
But it's a very high fence to left field. It's short. Obviously, if I hit it over the fence, it's a short fence. But it's like basically a Green Monster-like fence. So it's a very high. You have to really
but a short porch
launch
out
it.
there. And you did.
The retirement home across the street was in danger. On a bounce. It was in danger. And I hit it over the fence. I did the nice bat drop, but I knew exactly what I did when I got it. Like, even for a guy that doesn't have a lot of power in, his physique, when you feel like you took one, I hit one off the top of the fence in the first game of the season. So I knew it. Once I hit it, I was like, that's going over. Yeah. So I took the nice trot like I was going to do. I got to first, and I just, turned to the right.
Back off.
It was the coolest out of my life, for sure. And, I understand this has a real Connor Thomas vibe to it of me telling you, look how awesome I am playing softball.
At rec softball?
Yeah. But it felt good in the moment. I'll be honest with you.
I can enjoy it.
The trivia over at the brewery afterwards, I was like, yeah.
You're feeling yourself.
I'm kind of the guy.
You can do that.
I'm kind of the man on that one. But I don't think anyone would ever think that I could fit into an A.J. Brown or any offensive lineman
I've never thought about that idea when I get a jersey. Usually I just like pick a player I like and
That's what I
go
do.
with that. Is this correlate to other sports? Like, would you ever get a Ryan Howard jersey?
I did, but I was young.
Okay.
I also was so dumb, speaking of me in my athletic career, like, I think a lot of kids around this area, like, of my generation, when they were, like, young in Little League, like that bat point that Howard had.
Well, he learned it from Jim Thome, right?
Yeah, but I got, like, the bat point going as, like, as a kid, like, just kind of with the bat point, and that ball is, like, not getting out of the infield. Like, I always felt like, looking back on it, how much of a loser I was to be like modeling my approach
every kid
as Howard.
Whoever you grew up watching, that's who you imitated. Except for if you watch Kevin Youkilis, no one does that stupid bat.
I mean, I think we did it as like a joke.
Yeah,
and,
where you like the
ball.
violin, whatever. Like the.
I still do it. I played wiffle ball at a bachelor
But the
party
Ken
not
Griffey,
too long ago. I still
a lot of people do the Ken Griffey.
The Sheffield too, the over the top shaking.
Yeah, his was like a metronome. It was actually awful to watch.
But I always felt like, as someone that I realize, my limitations.
Yeah,
like stature wise.
I'm not going to be that guy. But you are. You hit a home run. So did Ryan Howard.
And we got so distracted on my athletic endeavors. No, that's on me. Listen, Donovan chest pad on that one. That's my bad. That was my bad on that one. We're gonna get to Reggie coming up. Our traveling truck driver. I'm interested to. I don't know if I actually know where that is. Wherever he is.
Oh, Jackson.
Jackson.
Yes. That's first of all, it's a classic country music song from the great Johnny Cash and June Carter.
A
classic.
I
was not alive when it was out there, so don't even put that out there.
I wasn't going to do that. I would never do that.
Not knowing a Rolling Stones song just because I didn't hear Satisfaction live when they came over from London doesn't mean that I don't know that song. You should know the song Jackson. It's a great song.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to learn something, too, coming up. Plus, I'm going to tell you why I'm stumping not for Schwarber to win MVP, though I'd like him to win MVP. And also, whoever in the YouTube chat said that I was going to go and stump for Thompson to win Manager of the Year, I might in my spare time, but this is not where I'm going with this, all right? There's another award we should be focusing in on. We'll get to that, plus your NFL notes at noon, all coming up here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils dropped their first series in August. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phils lost to the Cincinnati Reds yesterday by a score of 8-0. Christopher Sanchez got the start on the mound. He allowed 3 runs in 6 innings pitched. The game got out of hand, though, when Jordan Romano came in for 2/3 of an inning, and he left with 4 runs on the board for the Reds. Not that it mattered much anyway. The Phils bats only came through with 3 hits total last night. The Phils continue their road trip tonight, beginning a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 6:45. The Eagles continue their joint practices today against the Cleveland Browns before they match up for a preseason game on Saturday. Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports was at the first joint practice yesterday, and he said the offensive line could be the catalyst for another huge rushing attack this year.
I was extremely impressed with what the entire offensive line was doing. They created some holes for Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, and A.J. Dillon that impressed me enough where I can convince myself, okay, this run game is going to be really good again.
And in some Sixers news, Nick Nurse said he's unsure if Joel Embiid will be ready to go for training camp when that picks up in October. This update was brought to you by the International Hot Rod Association. The International Hot Rod Association Duran Hybrid, where the roar of the engine meets the torque of the wrench. Building champions on the track and in the trades. Get your tickets at ihra.com. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Previously on
Back into the midday show coming up in a few minutes here. The NFL notes at noon. Alongside Amy Fedul, I'm Ray Dunn taking you through the midday show. Brendan Gunn be taking you through the NFL notes at noon. So very intrigued as to what he's got there. Real quick, go back to the text line here because I had in our rapid fire with Fedul back at 11:30.
Yes.
The road
Great
trip.
segment. Great segment.
Thank you. Yes, a lot of people are just,
a lot of people are talking about it.
I mean, I just read on Crossing Broad that it is the segment that is most engaged with of all time.
I think so.
People are lauding my creativity for coming up with something that.
Five quick questions.
Yes. No one else has ever done that.
4 they've maybe done.
Yes.
But never 5.
No. Kornheiser and Wilbon were actually shocked at the idea that you could
get a bunch of topics in a very short amount of time.
They were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Where did this guy come up with this? We could have been doing this on television for years.
What's happening?
How does anyone ever think of something that bright? But one of the questions was the Eagles road trip you'd most like to take this year. And I see we got a text on the Buffalo trip.
Yeah, somebody checking in. Vincent Lawncrest checking in saying, Ray, Buffalo is a good town. That stadium is in its last season, so it would be cool to see it as well. Downside is there's only one road in and one road out. Makes traffic around the sports complex look great here in Philadelphia.
Oh.
So I understand the concern with that. I will say I have gone to enough Penn State games to not be bothered by the one road in, one road out.
That's a good point. There really is only one road.
It's with all due.
Yeah, but how much do you hate it when we go to, if you've ever been down to FedEx Field or whatever it's called now, for the Commanders? That is all. There is truly one road in.
I have not done the.
It is awful
of
because
DC.
Because you also have like the horrible traffic around DC in the Beltway. That first of all, that stadium is a dump. There's a reason they're getting a new one. But there is truly one road in, one road out, and it is awful. You'll sit there for hours.
A guy that knows a lot about being on the road is our resident truck driver, Reggie.
Yes.
Who is calling from Jackson, Tennessee. Reggie, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right. First off, Ray, continued success in your position there.
I appreciate that.
I'm aware of what happened on Friday, but if I could have had a 30-second timeout with Amy before you gave her the rapid fire, I would say on that first question, take $100 million and buy some shares in the Eagles, some ownership. That way you can keep the money coming in. Then you can buy your house down on the beach. How's that?
Okay.
So we're buying share in.
I don't hate that.
Okay.
Yeah. How you doing, Amy?
I'm good, Reggie. You being safe out there?
Right. And then, yes. Jackson is about an hour east of Memphis and would also be about an hour west of Nashville on Interstate 40.
I've been to Jackson.
Yeah,
I used to live in Nashville. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Road trip, if I could, and I've been to these stadiums. Buffalo is very close to a Tim Hortons. If you've never had Tim Hortons, worth parking there and enjoying those donuts and other good foods.
I would have to make that trek if I did go up for this game. Is that the road trip you'd take?
And I've been to Green Bay. Green Bay has what's the name of that? It's a steakhouse restaurant in the stadium and the Green Bay Packers Museum, the Players Museum. And then I would say a road trip to Kansas City. We've heard so much about Arrowhead.
Wow. All right. So you got. I mean, road trips are kind of your thing, Reggie, and I appreciate you checking in. I can imagine why you would want to take a number of road trips. That's kind of what you do. That's kind of
he likes being on the road.
Yeah. All three sound good.
I get why he's reasoning for Kansas City. They talk about how loud it is in Arrowhead. I've been to Seattle. That was the loudest I've ever experienced.
Yeah, but it was built that way.
I know.
Yeah. It's like performance-enhancing drugs. You know, it's like, come on.
It's like when they pipe in the music.
Yeah. Like, all right, cool. Yeah. You figure it out. It is interesting. I wonder how many people, like, what the road trip is for most people this year. Tampa, I know, is always a popular one just because it's Tampa.
But it's early. For me, like, I would prefer to go, if Tampa was in December, that's like a guarantee. Like, I remember we went down to a Dolphins game. This was years ago, and it was in December. Like, of course we went to that game. Are you kidding me?
Fraud fans, also, by the way.
The Dolphins fans?
Tampa. I've never been to Miami. I've been to a Tampa game. I went last year with our good buddy Josh. Wow, Josh getting a lot of play in the 11 o'clock hour. Like that's
Josh Shepard has no idea. He's been talked about so much.
Yeah, he's busy selling cards right now. He's got to move that rookie card.
Yeah.
Josh.
I think it's a very transient area, so there's not a lot of people that.
Yeah, but like even the fans that were like they were playing for a playoff spot when I was there this year, and the loudest the place got was when Mike Evans got the participation. I'm going over 1,000 yards. Catch.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the loudest the place got. It's like you guys are playing for the playoffs. Like no one seemed worried.
Oh, it's because they got all the sun.
Oh yeah, I guess next week instead of the playoffs, we'll just go to the beach.
Exactly.
You're tuned in to WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. It is time for our NFL Notes at noon.
All right, we're going to start down there with our rival in Dallas yesterday. Jerry Jones did talk about how he's been battling cancer, so hopefully he's overcoming that and all that. But he also did some Jerry Jones things yesterday in the media. He talked about how it's not always about the football on the field. He wants to be a soap opera at all times. Take a listen.
I do believe if we're not being looked at, then I'll do my part to get us looked at. The beautiful thing for networks or, if you will, streaming companies is that the NFL is a 365-day-a-year interest factor. A lot of programming, you have to spend as much to make it, to promote it, as you do to make it. The Cowboys are a soap opera 365 days.
The stream will begin
when it gets slow, I'll stir it up.
Please take your seats.
And so it's wonderful to have the great athletes, have the great players. But there's something more there. There's sizzle, there's emotion. And if you will, there's controversy. That controversy is good stuff in terms of keeping and having people's attention.
Yeah, Jerry, maybe...
Who wants a Lombardi when you can just have drama?
Yeah. You know...
And sizzle.
You can get an Emmy. Who needs the Lombardi?
That's right.
You know
Hard Knocks every year.
Talk a lot about Patrick Mahomes. You know who people talk a lot about? Tom Brady. You know what organizations people talk a lot about? The Chiefs. Even in your own division, the Eagles. The Eagles have been a topic of conversation nationally all offseason. Why?
Truly remarkable.
Because they won the freaking Super Bowl.
Something they have not won in 30 years.
Like, I don't want to get upset because this is good. This is good. Honestly, what it is, it's good for the National Football League, for the Cowboys to be relevant but a disaster. And it's good for me personally, for the Cowboys to be a disaster. So thank you, Jerry Jones. In that sense, I'm glad that you are wired that way and that Jeffrey Lurie is not wired in that way. I truly believe the best take on Jerry Jones was the Kevin Clark take from a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point on ESPN, where he said if the football gods came down and offered Jerry Jones multiple Super Bowls, but he could never do another radio interview again, he would turn down the Super Bowls and take the radio interviews.
It's incredible.
That is the best Jerry Jones
so
take
true.
Because he literally just told you that's true. He would prefer controversy to actual real-life success. And there are people in this life that is what they prefer. That is like, there are people.
We're always talking about them.
Yeah, that there are real life people, and not even just like celebrity. Like you'll meet people in different walks of life. Like why'd you do that? Just for fun.
Create a little sizzle.
Yeah, just a little sizzle. Let's get a little crazy
sizzle.
with it. You know, some decisions
it's just
make
truly
in life.
remarkable. Truly
Some people love picking fights. Some people love putting their football team just in the limelight for all the wrong reasons. Jerry Jones is just wired that way.
Speaking of being in the limelight for wrong reasons, we're going out to Kansas City, where Rashee Rice has been in a load of trouble the past year and a half or so for that crash he caused in Dallas, allegedly, I guess, right now. Or he's been sentenced to 30 days in jail, so it's not alleged anymore. But he has another trial coming up on September 30th, which means he will be eligible to play, not suspended by the league until after September 30th, which means he'll be on the field week 2 against the Birds.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I guess when you want to wait to hear the full, like, I don't know. If the NFL's scheduling the hearing, like, don't you just want to do this? Like, I don't know why you schedule it 4 games into the season. It seems very odd to me.
I don't know why you can't. Do they have a backlog of things that they're hearing? Like, a lot of times your court date, whatever, because they have hundreds of cases to hear. What else is the NFL doing right now?
And the cynic in me says,
you're going to wait until it's after that game.
Not just after that game. How does the Chiefs' schedule start? one of the most interesting storylines of the whole season, the Chiefs trying to get revenge for losing the Super Bowl when they were built up to the three-peat. How does that Chiefs season start? Oh, it starts in Brazil? Oh, really? So it's a nationally televised game in Brazil.
Yep.
That, by the way, you have to pay for the streaming service. All that
it's not
stuff
going against anything either.
Standalone game. Interesting. Week 2, you mentioned they're playing the Eagles. Huh. That seems to be a game that a lot of people have interest in. What are they doing week 3? Oh, they're on Sunday Night Football. It's against the Giants, but it's Sunday Night Football. That also happens to be a standalone game. And what do they have week 4 before that hearing? A matchup with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
Yeah, your AFC Championship preview.
Huh. Very interesting that you would want to schedule his hearing for after those 4 games, because when you look at the Chiefs' schedule the rest of the way, you're like, well, at that point, Chiefs have gotten off to the start maybe needed them to get off to for the interest. And, oh, by the way, after that game, you get the Jaguars, Lions, which is a good game, the Raiders, and then the Commanders. If he gets a 3-game suspension, he'd be back for that Commanders game. And
there you go.
I don't know what the precedent would be here.
He missed 2 dog games.
He missed the Lions would be the only marquee game he would lose in that. Because if they suspend him for 3, he's back for Commanders, Bills, Broncos the next 3.
There you go.
Just saying. I don't mean to be so cynical about these things, but
you can be cynical.
The league tends to make me cynical about things.
And one last story before we get to break. We got Michael Penix down there in Atlanta, projected starting quarterback, even with Kirk Cousins still on the roster. Well, things were looking good in practice yesterday. He completed a deep pass, and he wanted to let his defense know about it, so he starts chirping them. The defenders took issue with it, and Michael Penix is involved in a fight at training camp. Starting quarterback, not the best look to be fighting with your defense. I wouldn't want that.
I'll be honest with you. Not the best look for the defender that had his quarterback complete a pass and start chirping, where you're like, you know what, I got to fight the guy. Like, I don't know what he said about you. I don't know what he said about you, but I don't know if you realize that he's in the red jersey.
Yeah, you can't.
I understand all of you technically in Atlanta at some point will wear a red jersey, but he's got the penny on. You know, you're not supposed to make contact. If your franchise quarterback ends up on the bottom of that pile, especially, I don't know which one, like I didn't look too deep into this. This happened a lot,
I feel like, across the league, though. I saw Joe Burrow got hit the other day.
Yeah, we're talking about...
After all that he went through to get that contract.
John Campbell's taking a couple runs at our
Campbell, they're having to tell, like, calm down. People are forgetting how this thing works.
It reminds me of that legendary picture of Cam Newton just smiling as he's about to unload on Josh Norman, that picture from 10 years ago.
That was like 10 years ago.
You don't want to see that, but...
I'm trying to figure out if they have who got him. Because...
Penix?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who... I don't know. But regardless, maybe let's not be so soft. Is that wrong by me?
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I don't know why you would be so soft on that one. That going after a quarterback, kind of dumb. So it was Titan. So it's a joint practice.
And then
to be clear,
talking noise about it too.
Yeah, it's a joint practice. So it's not. Nah. Still, come on. That wasn't me. That was somebody else. Like, come on. Don't back away from the fact that you were talking smack. You had a good pass. You're in the red penny. Come on. So, all right. I was soft. Whoever goes after the quarterback on that one's soft to me. Unless he said something wild, and I have my right to change my mind on that one. That's pretty soft. All right, coming up. I keep telling you I want to talk about this award. We're going to get to this award. I promise you. That's something. I also want to go back to how we started the show and talk about just like more of a psyche thing with the fans that I'm curious about. How chronologically eras play out and how much that matters to us in the way we remember them. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Take it through middays here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back in. Midday show here on 97.5 The Fanatic alongside Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn hanging out with you. Going to get to reset the show here in a second. Also going to get to this award that I've been talking about that I just want to see done and taken care of. And I don't think it's going to I honestly think we're going to watch the Phillies get shut out of the awards by the end of the season.
All of them?
Yeah.
No Cy Young. Well, no MVP.
No MVP, no Cy Young, no Manager of the Year, even though people think that that's where I'm going with this.
No, I know it's not. Well, they did have. There was a while that you thought Cy Young was definitely locked up.
Well, yeah, and that's where we're going back with this in a second. I do want to get back to our text line because we got a number of people checking on a number of different things. And I'm just going to open the door to you, Brendan Gunn. Whatever text you most desire to read, you go ahead and give it.
All right, let's go with the Sixers one. 70.
Wrong answer.
I don't know. 76ers fans are living in a fantasy land. If you think Embiid's going to play when training camp starts or even play effectively the rest of this season, the franchise is in the dumpster right now.
Well, that was really uplifting.
Yeah.
Thank you for that text, Brendan Gunn, and I appreciate it.
The thing is, for people that don't know, it's not like B. Gunn just got it and he's reading it live. He sees the text ahead of time. He has multiple choices, and that's the one he chose. You chose violence.
I did.
I mean,
I'm frustrated with that team.
I get it.
I also...
But you chose violence. We were trying to go on a joyful ride.
Yeah, the news that he is, that Nick Nurse is unsure, which really isn't news to me. I think everyone's unsure. I don't think he'll be ready for
He said he wasn't going to be ready.
Yeah, so the training camp
said
thing...
he was unsure, I guess.
But how many games he plays, that's kind of...
Again, I'm okay if I'm paying...
Right, but that's where I went into last season. It's one of those, how many times do I go into a season thinking that he's going to be able to get himself ready by December? Like, I want to believe that he's able to get himself out there by December. Wanting and truly believing are two different things here. So I'm not necessarily with the texter that I'm like, yeah, maybe the texter's right. I've deluded myself a little bit. I've also kind of put it to the side. We did this conversation like a week or two ago of like where your sports attention is at right now. And 50% of my sports attention is on the Phillies, and like a solid 40%, I would say, is on the Eagles.
Right.
And from that point on, everything else is like when it shows up, it shows up. So I clock when these things happen. But yeah, I also don't feel good about the Sixers. Oh, that's bold. That's a very scorching take from me. I don't feel great. What do we got else on the text board?
Yeah, we got somebody checking in. Joe from Reading, as a matter of fact. He says Cooper DeJean is still going to be here in 5 years, 2030. Okay. Jalen Carter.
Okay.
And then he says a hot take, the baby axe, a.k.a. Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Oh, wow. All right, so this is not an anti-Jeremiah Trotter Jr. opinion.
I don't hate that.
If I were to pick just 3 players from this team to be here in 5 years, I am very excited for what Trotter could be this season. I still think he's probably going to end up a reserve on this team because I think they just value Jahad Campbell that much. I think he will play and will get playing time. But I don't think that of all the choices, he would be one that I would say I need to guarantee is here in 5 years. Any word on whether that's a prep grad right there? That doesn't feel like that's a prep grad text.
Let me go back to his old ones. Kyle McCord should be the starter. No,
yeah, listen. I enjoy
State's
watching.
Going to win it all.
I would like watching St. Joe's prep as much as the next guy, but go on.
Get Marvis Harrison Jr. back in Philly.
What's happening?
All right, so just to go back where we before we open the show, I want to go to this award thing because Schwarber's been the one that we've talked a lot about, and I think there is a legitimate MVP conversation to be had in the National League. I still think Ohtani right now as the inside track, and ever since that conversation really opened up, Ohtani's been a really good job of trying to close that one off. And I think that's...
Because he's pitched a lot more, and he's obviously hit... We had, 4 straight games with a home run?
Yeah. So I think that's slowly closing off. I will say, Paul Skeens ends up going against the highest team in baseball that's ever existed. The Brewers are just... right now, it's actually difficult for me to fathom how they're doing what they're doing. But they continue to do it. They scored 12 runs to the Pirates again last night. They win 12-5. And not that the Pirates are good, but they were able to get to Paul Skeens the other night.
Yes, they did.
And it made me think... Right now, you line up the 2 numbers between Skeens and Christopher Sanchez. Skeens with the edge.
Right.
Skeens has had the season. There's a reason he is who he is. Zach Wheeler was right next to him there for a while in the Cy Young conversation. Last night doesn't really push Christopher Sanchez any closer to a Cy Young. But Skeens at this point is getting up there in terms of innings. Last year, his workload was 133, and he finished with a sub-2 ERA. This year, he's now close to 150 innings, and until that start, I believe he was sub-2. Now he's got a little above 2. We need a few more starts like the one he had against the Brewers, and I get the Brewers are the hottest team in all of baseball.
That's a tough window.
But I think there's a world where we could be hitting the campaign trail for Christopher Sanchez in the next 6 weeks, and we probably should start hitting the campaign trail right now for him to just start making this more of a conversation instead of just rolling over accepting that Paul Skeens is going to be the MVP or the Cy Young.
And when you bring it up, even when you were bringing up Wheeler when he was rolling, I don't know, Paul Skeens. All right, yeah, but it's Paul. I get it. But it's not a foregone conclusion. I don't think it was a foregone conclusion a month ago. I get that it was a very strong case, but I feel like this. I like that Chris Sanchez could be in that, and he should be in that discussion.
And honestly, right now with the way this pitching staff is, you look at just some of the struggles of Ranger Suarez and Zach Wheeler, kind of the uncertainty of him right now.
Right. Oh, I mean, I don't think you can say kind of the uncertainty.
To me, when you look at Skeens, when we look at Sanchez, what he might be able to carry for the Phillies the next 6 weeks of the season, if he continues to pitch at the level that he has, he could be the driving force towards you winning your division and being in a postseason setup. And that has to count for something. That has to count for something in this whole thing. I understand Skeens, it's not his fault that the Pirates stink. But at the same time, if Sanchez is driving a team towards a bye, in the NLDS, you might not be the first starter on your own team, but you end up winning the Cy Young, which is a crazy thing to say, but it's probably the way it breaks out for you. Sanchez right now pretty much sits top 10 in all the big numbers.
In every single metric.
And for those of you that hate WAR, you might have to go to war with it because that's his big edge on Skeens right now. I'm just saying, I think if we're starting a campaign here, the Schwarber one's nice. I will be... I'll hold a sign.
Down. Yeah, you're going down with the ship on that one. But
I'll hold the sign with it. Down. I think if we do the Christopher Sanchez conversation, I might have to get the megaphone out. I think that might be the one where I'm at the front of the...
A little bit more amplification for your argument.
I think I might be trying to get to the front of that.
I feel it. I think that he's pitched exceptionally well this year and should be in that discussion.
All right. Coming up, we talked about the future outlook of the Birds. I mentioned that thing about fandom I'm curious about. That chronologically, if things happen in a different order, do we have a different reaction to it?
Okay.
And how it relates to the Eagles, how it relates to that Phillies era of 2007, 2011, and also an all-time Eagle, Malcolm Jenkins, Hall of Fame now for the team.
Yeah, that's exciting. One of the more underrated.
A lot of people were wrong about him.
I think a lot of people,
All
he was
of us,
one of the more underrated guys that have played for the Eagles for me.
All of us here have to do something that's very difficult and admit that we were wrong about something. Okay? I'm going to explain what you have to admit you were wrong about. You have to find a time you were wrong. Amy's looking at me like I've never been wrong a day in my life. Amy Fedul, you have to find a time in your life you were wrong. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Take it through middays here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Another day of joint practice. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Eagles were once again hard at work today in a joint practice against the Cleveland Browns. Head coach Nick Sirianni spoke to the media prior to today's practice and said these joint practices are all about eliminating the negative plays.
There's some ups, there's some downs. That's how any practice is going to go. I thought we did some good things running the football. I thought we had a couple too many negative plays. It's hard to score points when you move backwards. So that's always our goal and what we talk about in training camp or even any practice review or game review in the season. How do you eliminate bad football?
Some news out of camp today. Lane Johnson got a rest day, and his partner on the other side of that offensive line, well, he had a rough day. Jordan Mailata going up against Myles Garrett. The Eagles host the Browns on Saturday for preseason game number 2 at 1 p.m. The Phils play their first game on a Thursday since June 26th tonight when they begin a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is at 6:45. And in some Sixers news, head coach Nick Nurse, says he's still unsure if Joel Embiid will be ready for training camp when it begins in October. This update was brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Midday show here on The Fanatic. I'm Ray Dunn. Amy Fedul in today and tomorrow. Because tomorrow, we're going to do live on the air 82 games. Wins, losses. That's the plan.
I hope y'all keep trusting the process.
That's right. Oh, I mean, what do we already have for them? The NBA Cup. I mean, they win the NBA Cup for sure. Just
because they've always done really well in it.
Yeah. Well, this is the year. This is obviously the year for them. They haven't done well in it, but this will be the year they do it, you know? How many people go into a season like, you know what I hope they do this year? Hope they win the NBA Cup.
I don't win any of that.
Amy's distancing herself so quickly from this conversation.
I don't want to. We already had Brendan steal our joy.
Well, yeah, that was tough.
With, hey, let's talk about like the 3 Eagles that you want to have for the next 5 years or a fun road trip. What do you got for us?
What's on the text line?
I'm just the vessel.
Terrible.
I'm the vessel of the people.
Great. That was the choice you went with. Cool.
If you're the voice of the people, I got a lot of questions for the people.
I was like, you had so many options there. Like, nope. The road less traveled. The road no one wants to go down. That is your
It's like that meme with the guy staring out the bus window with the dark, cloudy skies and then paradise.
Yeah, this looks great.
You're not a paradise guy. I got you.
Just wait until 1 p.m.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. We got.
Look at this guy. Just teasing his own segment. Hey, guys, don't forget about me. Listen, I got a lot going on. It's on the sheet, man. We're going to get to it.
It's going to make people mad. I'm telling you.
All right. I'm curious for people, because we opened the show today, and you can still get it on this at 610-632-0975. The future outlook of the Eagles, because ESPN puts them at the top of their future power rankings based on what they could do. And I just asked, would you be disappointed if you didn't get another Super Bowl from the Hurts-Sirianni regime? I sound greedy when I say, yes, I would be disappointed, but that's truly how I feel.
That's where I think the expectations, has been set. The bar's been set higher, so you can be greedy.
Right. Amy, you find more of a larger view of this.
I'm trying to be a little bit more nuanced with it, but yes.
And understanding. Honestly, it's tough to do this. It's tough to win multiple ones. A lot of people in Seattle, if they had the same show in 2014, would say, yeah,
absolutely.
I'd be disappointed.
Look how we've set up.
And a lot of people have fond memories, I'm sure, in Seattle of 2013. But the rest of the era, they don't win one.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But
I would be disappointed, but not the way you are like. You would be highly disappointed.
I would be very disappointed at this point. I would be disappointed in the way. And I think that goes back to the comparison to the Phillies in 2007 and 2011.
Yes.
And I want to spin this because you touched on this earlier when we originally broke this one down about the way it went, where you won and then you went down the ladder each year. Like, for example, if the Phillies this year...
Stop.
What?
You're not going to say that about the Phillies. They're not going backwards. Don't say it.
No. I'm saying the exact opposite. I'm saying if the Phillies this year broke through and won the World Series,
okay,
I think a lot of people would have the exalting feeling of like, they did it. This group accomplished what they needed to accomplish.
Yes.
Because they haven't yet done it. And I do think there are some people, myself included, that would continue to say, you lost one in 2023 that really got away. I will forever be more mad about 2023 than 2022.
Yes, because 2022 was like a fun surprise. Look at us, wild card, go all the way. Astros were a very good team. You know, you could have won that game, that series, but you didn't. You were a definitively better team than the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
And you would have beaten the Rangers.
I think you would have.
So that's where that one's going to stick in the craw.
Yes. And I was there Game 7, and I still can't get that edit game out of my... When I realized the 7th inning that it was going to end on a Jake Cave pinch hit, I still can't get that. But to that point...
Jake Cave.
Imagine being there in right field, and you just get up and leave in the middle of that pop ball going in the air.
Yep.
Your gut's gone.
My buddy down at Anthony down South House, he got to see me after that game, and he and I sat at the table to the point where one of bartenders there was like, all right, yeah, you two, like, you guys need to leave. Like, you can't be depressed about this for the rest of the night. We got to close this place. Like, I was so distraught over that game. But if the Phillies were to win this year, I think a lot of people would reach that point of this group did their job. This group won it. Like, they found a way to get done. Similarly, I think there are some people that have said and chimed in with the idea that they're okay with the Eagles just having won in this run, where they avenged 2022. They did their job. They got a ring. They got their job done. I go back to the Phillies example of that golden age of 07 to 11. If the Phillies had not won in 08 but won in 11, will we look at it like they completed the journey? They got it done.
Yeah.
They did win one. we would be more grateful for that one than maybe some people view it.
I think so.
Why is that?
I mean, you don't know what you've got until you don't have it. So you wouldn't have had one, right? You didn't win in 08 and 09 and 2010. And you would think the window is closing, but then all of a sudden you would win one. I think that's why. Because of the way the setup was, the trajectory.
So we just don't know what we don't have.
I mean, I feel like...
It's interesting, though, because I'm still fed up with that Super Bowl 57 loss.
Yeah.
Like, still very much fed up with that, even though you got revenge on the same exact team you lost to.
Because it was right there.
Yeah,
you
had it, and then you snatched it away.
Your quarterback played better than their quarterback.
Much better, just outside of one play. And then all the excuses you come up with.
Exactly. The defense says,
Bradbury, the whole thing, you start replaying all of it. But
the call.
I'm curious to people, because we do this conversation a lot of times. Like the trade deadline, we did it. And it was like, if they had traded for Bader first and then got Duran, would you have viewed the trade deadline differently because they ended up...
I do think you would, because he would have finished with the home run.
So should we expect more? That's kind of where this conversation goes. Like, when I say this, I'm being very self-aware here when I say that I know I'm being greedy. I have not looked yet because I got... Brandon was like, I'm putting out this clip of the open of the show. I'm sure there are people online, this is what we're talking about in August after they won a Super Bowl. How about you just enjoy it?
Oh, we put it on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. So I'm sure social media is upset with me. I have not yet looked.
I should look it up. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you can look. Go ahead.
It's also funny when I think of the Phils. If they get it done, I'm still going to think back to 2023 like you.
Really?
Talking back to the Sixers, though, if they were to somehow get that perfect season where Embiid plays 80% of the games and he gets it done, I take that and I everything's gone.
Yeah, you would never ask for anything again.
Exactly. It's different. I don't look at the Phils like that, though. Like, I look back on the Phils, said they should have had probably more than one.
But there are people that look at 2017 Super Bowl like that. Like, now we're getting greedy and whatever else. But if the Eagles had just been good after that and been like the Ravens and been, we're always in the mix, but you'd been fine with the 20 because you had 2017. If the Sixers somehow win a championship, you put it in a box, you put it on the shelf, and you admire it every day for the rest of your life.
And you tell your kids out there, you're probably never going to see one again.
Yeah, if the Stanley Cup comes back for the first time in 40 years, you put that on the shelf and you stare at it every day, and you pay homage to it every day. You live a little hat tip to it every day.
More about the organizations, or is it more about us?
How we're built, and one is there's some two beaten down fan bases, but the Phillies were a beaten down fan base. Mm-hmm. That's why 08 was like ridiculous. Right. That's why 93 is still living in the lore of a lot of people.
And I didn't understand, and this is, I feel like I'm stealing the script right in front of Salciunas right now because he said this before. So I want to give credit where I've heard this exact line been dropped before. But I agree with him on this. I didn't understand 93, the obsession with 93 that people had until I had 2022. It almost lines up perfectly for my dad's age and my personal age in those two time frames where my dad always talked about 93 and the run they went on and all the fun that was for him, and he was at a similar stage of life, but also the organization had been 10 years since that 83 team. And for me,
and they've not been good at all.
Yes, and at 2022 you end that decade-long drought of postseason, and you're sitting there I understand now how you can love a team that didn't end up finishing the job, which I understand. But to this point, does it matter the order in which things happen for you to get the satisfaction? How much does the journey matter to you in the end in the championship, or is it just about getting the championship?
No, I hear what you're saying. I do think the order matters.
Got it.
For me, it does. I think it does matter.
So, if the order matters here, there might be a little disappointment with the way the rest of this era goes if you don't raise another Lombardi, because the order here is similar to the first order, that 07 to 11.
Yeah, you win it at the beginning and then you don't go back.
Right.
Or win it again.
Or maybe to your case, 2022 was avenged, and now you're happy, and now you're content.
Call it a day.
I just want to know why the order matters to us as fans. And I also am going to ask fans to do something very, very difficult coming up next. Amy Fedul doesn't believe she's ever been wrong a day in her life.
It's not true.
Brendan Gunn actually legitimately believes he's never been wrong a day in his life. It's exhausting.
Never, ever.
But we're all going to have to admit a time that we were wrong. It has to do with Malcolm Jenkins. We're coming up next right here on the Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, a Birds Insider update on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Another day of joint practice. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Birds Insider update. The Eagles are set to host the Cleveland Browns for their second preseason game this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. But before then, the two teams are hard at work at joint practices. One position that's going to have a lot of eyes on it during these practices, and it has, is the cornerback spot outside of Quinyon Mitchell. Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports was at the first joint practice yesterday, and he shared his thoughts on one of those players trying to vie for that job, Adoree Jackson.
What I like about Adoree Jackson is he's the tortoise in the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. He's doing that right now. But I understand the concerns. I don't think Vic Fangio really wanted him, so...
We'll see who ends up winning that job. One player who knows his role on this team is Jahan Dotson. Well, Jalen Hurts spoke to the media before yesterday's practice, and this is what he had to say about Jahan Dotson.
I think we'll continue to build and continue to work through things. You know, he came in a unique situation given right before the season, and so I've never thrown to him. And so I think he's become more suited and secure in his role.
As for today's practice, Lane Johnson was held out for a rest day. A.J. Brown is still not out there practicing with the team. And Jordan Mailata had a rough day, but that's to be expected going against Myles Garrett on the other side of the football. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best Birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
You got Gun at 1 coming up.
Gun at 1.
Yeah.
It's going to make everybody mad.
Yes. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. You're listening to Middays here on The Fanatic. You're about, I would say, an hour, 45 minutes into the Taylor Swift New Heights podcast.
Oh, yeah. Attention listening.
Yeah. Hour 45.
Got a new album coming out. What's it, The Story of a Showwoman?
Showgirl.
Showgirl. Okay.
Life of a Showgirl, actually.
Life.
The Life.
Yes.
Close enough.
Oh, come on.
You really didn't actually
Album
get
number
that wrong.
12.
By the way.
Yeah, Shawnee was like, my son was just like, why was it at 12:12? I was like, their 12th album.
Yeah, 12th album. Also, the 12th song on that album featuring Sabrina Carpenter.
Is
Excited
what?
for that.
Oh, you're just saying. Okay, sorry. I
Yeah.
thought there was a.
No, it's just.
You're just
no.
excited that Sabrina Carpenter is on a Taylor Swift album. Got it. All over
excited that we're getting more Sabrina Carpenter content. That's more where I'm at.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Sabrina, Bala Kinwood singing lessons. So she grew up around here.
That I knew. I didn't
Yes.
know it was Bala Kinwood
Yes,
singing.
Bala Kinwood got a shout out when I think she won a Grammy or something like that. But
Sounds right.
I am very intrigued. I know I would be willing to bet our audience, the percentage of people that were amongst the 1.2 million people watching live, I would be interested to see what crossover there was of the Taylor Swift New Heights appearance.
Well, she made the joke about it, right? Saying
Yeah,
that,
no,
like,
I thought that was good. That was,
it was
funny.
funny.
Good self-aware moment. Me personally, I've consumed some of the clips so far. That's how I think I
Yeah, that's
consume
what I
most
do.
athletes' podcasts.
I just consume some of the clips because they put them out as interesting clips.
Yeah.
All the good stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's why they're going to put it. And they want you to listen to the whole thing. But that's 2 hours is.
Who in this life would you want to be interviewed for 2 hours? Because, like, we do something in a forum that's 4 hours, so you listen to it for 4 hours. I mean, numbers would tell you that you don't actually listen to all 4 hours consecutively. You listen to bits and pieces.
Right.
But, like, who would you want a full 2 hour interview of done?
The Castellanos. Just saying off the wall stuff.
Good luck to the interviewer.
Guy's going to come up with 185 questions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's actually there's a lot of people that I enjoy listening to that I think have fascinating stories. Like just people that have lived. Like I think you could talk to, like if you're lucky enough to have your grandparents still alive, like people like that. If you could really talk to them, like those are fascinating things because these are people that have lived. There's hundreds of people out there that I would be interested in talking to for 2 hours. Honestly, and I know I say this because I work with him, I find myself like when Jim Lynam starts telling a story, I could ask Jim Lynam 1,000 stories. I would listen to him talk for 2 hours. John Kruk, I would listen to for 2 hours.
That's a good one.
Ray Dininger, I would listen to for 2 hours. Like guys that have done crazy stuff, but not crazy, and you know what I mean? Not off the wall things, but just they've really. Nick Nurse is somebody. Brett Brown, Nick Nurse coached in England. What in the world? How was that like? You grew up in Iowa, for Pete's sake.
Could you give Ben Simmons?
No,
Truth
Ben Simmons
serum.
is not on my list.
If you give him truth serum and he has to spill the beans about everything for a 2 hour sit down,
oh yeah,
I'd
I
be
would do
interested in
that.
that, but he would never do that.
No, but so you know what I mean? I think that if you have an engaging subject, you could find it. But yeah, 2 hours is a long listen. But I mean, there's people that have lived stories.
Listen, I'm not saying that it's too long of a podcast. You get Taylor Swift on your podcast.
You'd
talk
stretch
to her
that
for
out
2
to-
hours.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
I'm just curious for people. I know Charles Barkley's one of those people.
He would
listen
absolutely.
to Barkley for 2 hours. If you could listen to an interview of one person for 2 hours, put full 2 hour interview, who would be that one person that you would want, that you would find yourself intrigued? You would go in with the thought process, I'm going to listen to all 2 hours of this, and I can't wait.
Are they alive or dead?
Either one.
Okay, just interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just a question that popped in my head. 2 hours is a lot to invest into listening to someone talk about their life. For example, me. I won't throw out any examples other than myself. I don't know if I have 2 hours
Yes,
worth
you
of
do.
life. I mean, yeah, maybe there's some stuff that we could get into, but that would
Sure you
truth
do.
serum would probably have to be involved in a lot of that. Yeah, but I'm just curious, what people in this world you'd be interested in listening to 2 hours worth of content for their life?
I have a couple. But random people, not necessarily sports related, like a guy like Henry Ford. He thought a car would be fun. What was that like?
Interesting.
I don't know, but sports wise, I mean, I would have to go some of the all Barkley would absolutely.
Barkley
We've
would
all
be
talked to Barkley at some points in our life, and I love Charles a lot. I feel like he's a guy that you could go anywhere with, not sports related necessarily, but I think that he's always got to be at the top of a list. I think a guy like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who I got to interview once, I felt like I could have talked to him for another 2 hours. A fascinating life.
I will say the one time I got to interview John Chaney was
perfect example.
The ultimate. Let's take this interview as long as we get as much that we like. And listen to him talk about as like all the different things, temple related, non-temple related. I think we probably talked for like an hour and 15, hour and 30 minutes.
But you could sit there because the always follow-up question is like, why? You want to dive deeper into like, why did you do those things? Because some of these, they're great people and they always have a why behind it. Like why in the world I did that. But yeah, I mean, there's some fascinating people out there. So there's a couple. I would have like a couple.
Yeah. Just curious. You can get on that 610-632-0975. You got on the text line. Any person you would want to hear a full 2-hour length interview with. Because that was what stuck out to me. Like, one, all the people watching, but also like the amount of content you have to have and the amount of interest in a subject you have to sit down and listen to a 2-hour interview.
You do have to be interested, yeah.
Real quick, we'll all have to admit we were wrong on something. The year that Malcolm Jenkins was available to be picked up for the Philadelphia Eagles, when they signed him free agency, there were a number of safeties out there that people wanted that were not Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins signs here. It's like, okay, they kind of addressed their safety thing, but did they really? And then obviously, as the career he has, he ends up an Eagles Hall of Famer. I want to know from Brendan Gunn, maybe Fedul, and from myself, and I'll be vulnerable first, about the thing you were wrong about, the signing you were wrong about at the time. And I could say that I was absolutely wrong about paying a marquee running back. The Saquon Barkley signing, and Salciunas is getting a lot of play in the 12 o'clock hour. It was Josh Safran in the 11 o'clock hour. Salciunas is our person of the hour here in the 12 o'clock hour. Because I remember we were doing middays at the time leading up to...
Is it any
sport.
Any
Philadelphia
sport. Okay.
I remember we were doing middays at the time leading up to free agency that year. Saquon Barkley came up, and I was like, I just can't justify paying a running back, man. Like, that's just... It's not the way of the world. Like, I don't know. He's had injuries, the whole thing. And Salciunas looked at me. He's sitting in this exact chair and said, you're telling me if they sign Saquon Barkley, you're going to come on the air disappointed? And I was like, that's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. And I just kind of had the...
Maybe.
Host's got a point there. Hard to argue that one. But I was wrong about not paying a running back. And it worked out, obviously, beautifully for the Eagles. I'm curious, the one in a good way. It's not when you were wrong in a bad way, when you were hyping someone up and they fell on their face. It was when you were wrong in a good way, where you were pleasantly surprised, happy what you were wrong with. Because Malcolm Jenkins, for me, for a lot of people, I think, is that example. What were you wrong about in a good way? Do you have one?
I do.
What would that be?
Sirianni.
Ooh. A lot of people could sign up for that one.
Really thought that after 2023 that he had lost the locker room. You can't bring this guy back. The locker room was mega toxic. There's no way this guy will be able to get everything back on track. 2022 was a fluke, and 2023 was more. That's who this guy is. He wasn't ready for the moment, and hilarious, hilarious to think about the trajectory they went. But I thought for sure I was like, you can't keep this guy, right? You can't keep him.
You're not alone in that. Not alone.
Yeah, I mean, the low-hanging fruit is obviously Brandon Graham, but I'll go with Joel Embiid. I mean, I wanted Andrew Wiggins so bad. I was bought into that train the whole year, tank for Wiggins and all that. Yeah, obviously, at the time, I was like, and we're not getting Jabari Parker either. We're going to hell. How wrong I was.
So funny, real quick. My best friend growing up, we would go down the shore together a lot. And you know those Wildwood Boardwalk like jump shooting games that are obviously rigged. The rims are totally wrong. But
no, they're not.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
I have dozens of basketballs that say otherwise.
Okay. Sure, whatever. I don't know. We might be talking about two different ones. Because we did the 3-point contest around.
Okay.
And you had like the point level, whatever it is. He finally won the one time.
Yes, I love it.
He had the opportunity to pick whatever jersey he wanted. He picked a Jabari Parker Bucks jersey.
Oh.
Just an all-time disaster class for the guy.
That is bad. That's terrible.
That is bad. But yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid ended up being the MVP, probably the best Sixer that I have ever watched in my life. For the most part, I was super young when Iverson was there. So,
well, there's a book coming out that might suggest he was, regardless of your age. Maybe we'll get into that. I saw this on The Athletic earlier today. We'll get maybe into that in the 1 o'clock hour. We also got Gun at 1 coming up in the next segment. Alongside Amy Fedul, I'm Ray Dunn here on Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Another day of joint practice. I'm Brennan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. The Eagles were once again hard at work today in joint practice against the Cleveland Browns. Head coach Nick Sirianni spoke to the media prior to today's practice, and he said these joint practices are all about eliminating the negative plays.
There's some ups, there's some downs. That's how any practice is going to go. I thought we did some good things running the football. I thought we had a couple too many negative plays. It's hard to score points when you move backwards. So that's always our goal and what we talk about in training camp or even any practice review or game review in the season. How do you eliminate bad football?
Some notes out of today's practice. Lane Johnson did not practice today. It's just a rest day. And then A.J. Brown was once again not on the field. Jordan Mailata had a tough day going against Myles Garrett, but that's to be expected. The Phils play their first game on a Thursday since June 26th tonight when they begin a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. And in some Sixers news, head coach Nick Sirianni said he's still unsure if Embiid is going to be ready for training camp when it opens up in October. This update was also brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Looking for an exceptional driving experience? Experience the power, precision, and intelligence of an iconic Mercedes-Benz SUV at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer today. I'm Brendan Gunn, and you're listening to the home of the best birds coverage, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
have just been crushed today by the Browns in joint practice. And
The Browns look just dominating.
as a part of them getting crushed in the joint practice, the Browns actually will be taking the Lombardi from this past season back to Cleveland with them.
I think I did see that.
That's it. That's it. Everything you know about this organization has been lost. It's over. So
I heard that Jalen Hurts couldn't see over the line.
that's what I heard. Just a disaster. Just a wholesale disaster down there at NovaCare.
But seriously, do you have who played quarterback for the Browns?
I'm still trying to find it because all the Eagles reporters don't care, I guess, about it. So I got to go find it.
Got to find a Browns reporter?
Yes.
Good luck with that.
So that's it. Also, something I love before we get to Gun at 1 here with Brennan Gunn's promise to annoy the absolute you-know-what out of me. This is funny. Brooks Cabina of The Athletic tweeted out, looks like Landon Dickerson brought some Miller Lights out for a hang with the Cleveland line. So I guess he's hanging out with the Browns. He's got a Miller Lite out there while he's not playing. And Kevin Kincade, Crossing Broad. What's your level of concern that Landon Dickerson is drinking with the Browns and not focusing on his rehab? 610-632. And I'm a little upset that Kevin Kincade would steal tomorrow's 12 o'clock hour from me like that. Come on, Kevin, please. Please, it's not on the show sheet for today, but you better believe it's on the show sheet for tomorrow. I can't believe he's
What are you more annoyed with? His choice of beer or the fact that he's hanging with the Browns? Stop
Gotta
it.
get some Miller Lite.
Nothing.
Oh, I was going to say.
Found the quarterbacks.
But some people will have a problem that he's going with that.
I was going to say.
But it's like a daytime situation, so
Yeah.
I'll let it
It's
go.
a nice day beer. Yeah. Oh,
It's no summer shandy on a nice hot day.
Or
solid.
some kind of
Something
like
sweet.
He's getting his
wheat
carbs
beer
in,
type
right?
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Oh, I
Maybe
like
it's low carb in it. Miller
That's a
Lite.
good point.
We got Joe Flacco going 7 for 10, 2 touchdowns.
What?
We
Joe
got
Flacco,
that.
meanwhile, was just pounding Budweisers on the side.
Is he elite? We also got Dylan Gabriel out there. When he completes a pass, it's a touchdown. But he went 1 for 5 today for 1 touchdown.
All right. Well, Shador's got a job. I think that's pretty evident, right? Shador had the greatest preseason debut of all
So
time.
let's
and now
see. Their
Dylan Gabriel's
quarterbacks
struggling.
go Flacco. Who?
Flacco, Pickett, Shador.
And Dylan Gabriel, who you drafted above Shador.
Right. Yeah.
is
No,
now
that's
gone.
why. Yeah. Listen.
I'm not saying you can't. It's the Browns. Okay, they've had 185 quarterbacks in 3 years. So
Yep. That's about the case. All right, we're 2 minutes beyond 1 o'clock, which means we're 2 minutes past our audience being livid. Let's get to it. It's the Gun at 1.
So yesterday I continued my 4-mile walk all of August, and yesterday it was a tougher one. It was hot, humid before the clouds came for that one. You know, I'm sweating. I'm tired. I get home. I get a nice glass of water. I sit on the couch. I put on my YouTube TV. And as YouTube TV does, it has your suggested channels where you can just always go to them. I wanted to tune into NFL Live. Guess what was on? The Little League World Series. And I had to go to the actual live
He's doing
TV
this again.
and scroll down and go and find NFL Network or something else that is not in my suggested watches. I had to work. I just walked 4 miles. And if people know me, I don't walk anywhere. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. Ray just walked out of the studio. Ray is in my studio right now. If this is the last you see me, I think he's going to come kick my ass. But, yeah, get out of here, buddy. Yeah, you walk away.
So your problem was that,
My problem
that
is-
it lied to you? That the channel guide lied to you? That it lied to you with your suggestion?
My
Or that
problem
you couldn't
is-
possibly want to watch young men play a sport that they love.
I'm happy for the children.
Clearly you are.
I just want to put them on ESPN2. Is it that hard to ask to throw them on ESPN2 and keep the regular scheduled programming on ESPN?
Is it so hard for you to find that other channel?
It's very hard. I'm
Clearly.
so used
It's like when,
to
it's
my
like when people are
suggested
like, "Where's the
channels.
Sixers game?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's on Comcast or it's on NBC Sports Philadelphia Plus." Where's that? I'm like,
It's not like a remote where I can just press up. I got to go on my Xbox controller, go over. And I think there's a lot of people out there that won't say it. They don't want to watch the Little League World Series on ESPN either.
I will find the ratings. I'll find them today, and I will bring them in tomorrow. That is going to show you that you might be wrong.
How
on
much
that.
of it is a choice?
What do you mean?
There's lots of choices out there. Ratings clicks aren't just because they like fall asleep.
It
or
could
are
be a lot of
dead
people
at
like me
2 o'clock
saying,
in the afternoon.
I wanna
will
go-
say there's a lot of people when that Phillies game got a little out of control might have flipped it over.
Sometimes the Phils looked like a Little League team yesterday. I'm happy for the kids, but I got to say
you're
this.
not.
You're clearly not.
Last week, I saw some
love
kids
this. This is
stare
good.
down another kid. Like, that's going too far. I was pro bat flip. I was happy the Haddonfield kid did that. I thought it was awesome. They see pros do that all the time. You don't have to stare down another kid after you strike him out.
Oh, my gosh.
That's crazy to me.
You need to touch grass. That needs to become a 5-mile walk for you. All right? You need to, like, spend some time outside, gain some perspective. These kids are having the moments of their lives at the Little League World Series.
I'm all
This is
about
the only
it.
time they're going to be on TV, probably.
I don't want to take the joy away. I just want to toss them on ESPN number 2. ESPN 2, that's all I'm asking for.
You know what you need to do? You need to grow up, find the channel guide, and find ESPN 2 on your own.
I was tired.
And he couldn't move his little Xbox controller over. A, B, up, down. He couldn't figure it out.
I couldn't. It's tough work. Like, come on. I know
And
there's
what
other
this
people out
really
there.
is, this is not about ESPN or ESPN2. This isn't about this, because I remember this. As soon as he started in this brigade, I knew where he was going with this. You're anti-Little League World Series.
That's correct.
You are. I know
He's
you.
anti-Little League, period.
I've worked with you long enough.
You were
I know
not
what
picked
you're
for the
about.
team.
I was picked on the team.
This
I was
is a-
picked
You
might
on
have
the
been
team.
picked
My
on.
team's Drexel Little League, 2006. We sucked. But I was on the team from 8 years old till 12 years old.
You're resentful that your team wasn't good.
There was a game in the Little League World Series that was infinitely more exciting than the Phillies. It was like 1-0. The kid had like 11 strikeouts.
See, I'm all for the championship game, the semifinals. I don't need to see the 1 o'clock game, the 4 o'clock game with the losers.
The losers? Did you really just call 12 and 13-year-olds losers?
That's
They're good kids.
You need to touch grass.
But I don't care. But I don't care.
This is one of your, and I say this not lightly, one of your dumbest brigades that you've gone on. I've heard you walk down a lot of paths and stand on hills that I can't believe you're dying on. This is
You did
amongst
it.
the dumber that
Listen,
you have ever done.
I know
You're
there's people
anti-Little
like me
League-
out there that don't want it on. Like,
You don't want it on, period?
ESPN 2. ESPN 2.
No, because it's not an ESPN2 thing for you. You're anti-Little League World Series. If you really search your feelings, you know it deep down. I've heard you go down this path before. It's not that you had to move the Xbox controller, so you don't like the Little League World Series, and I think
I get joy
are a loser for that.
when the kids win. I love it for them. When they show the kids cry, they're like sensationalizing kids crying on TV. The whole thing to me, the parents going out there, I love you, buddy. You didn't tell that kid you loved him when he was giving up runs in the sectionals. Like, you weren't going out there saying you're pitching your heart out. You're not saying, I love you, but it'll be all right. He knows the camera's on him
This is like
now.
a little PTSD.
Yeah. This guy, well, he didn't get to sectionals, obviously, because he said his team stinks.
no. We were
But they
terrible.
might have come out there and yelled at him a couple times.
He came
That
in to
definitely
close the
happened.
sixth inning of of districts, and it was like,
You know what? Speaking of things that happen in 5 years, we're gonna go 12 years out. And when B Gun has a little B Gun and he's playing in whatever his little league is gonna be, and they do something really well, and he's gonna be like, wasn't that amazing? You're gonna show the video to everybody. I hope there's a B Gun of 2025 that goes, nope, don't care. Get the video out of my face.
You're not wrong. That's definitely going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I'm going to be the coach being like, I love you, Johnny.
You're going to be coaching it. I used to hate Little League guys, but I'm going to make us a good team.
You guys turned the Grinch's heart.
That's
he made
right.
it grow
It made
three sizes
too
that
big.
day.
As soon as he started,
Listen,
I was ready to fight him.
gun on one.
I just wanted to find out what happened at Eagles joint
Gun on
practice
one.
on the good old NFL Live. And
You already know. You watched 85,000 tweets. What happened?
I just wanted to hear it again. I would watch the same replay of the Sports Center for the 5th time in a row.
Oh, wow. That's really, really riveting stuff they're taking off the air for Little League World Series. I love NFL
angry.
Live, but let's relax over here. Go find ESPN too. You know who agrees with you on this one?
Johnny?
No. Well, I think John did back in the day when you went over this. Kevin Cooney right now is with you on this one.
You have Cooney and Kincade on your side.
That's the three. That's the three that are doing
I'm
this
just
right
trying
now.
to keep a tally. Who's going on?
You know how hard it is to get Kincade and Cooney to agree on anything?
You did it. That's what
I
I
did.
You did it, B Gun. Good job.
Unreal. Coming up,
That's
we'll reset
remarkable.
the show. I don't even want you to react to what he had to say. I'm sorry.
Oh,
to
there's
all the
gonna be
parents out
reaction.
there, I apologize. Not everyone here on this show hates children.
I'm sure Amy's
Enjoy.
going to be right. When I'm 40, whatever, and
When you're
have the kid.
40 and
You're
you
gonna
have
be
your
40
kid
what,
out
next
there,
year?
Grow the hell up. I'm a young man in his 30s. Young 30 at that.
She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. This is Midday Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Someone's producing the show, but I'm not even going to name that person right now because he's on a little bit of probation.
He's in the doghouse.
The Grinch.
Yeah, you really are when it comes to this. It's
You know how that movie ended, so.
Very, very disappointed by you on this one.
I see my arc changing over 12 years, like Amy points out, but I'm not at that point right now.
You're still a villain. That's what it is. That's exactly what this is. Good to have you, though, Brandon Gunn. Well,
Thanks for pushing the buttons today.
The post-show meeting today will question whether or not we want to continue Gun at 1. It might be the shortest-lived segment in radio history. It started Tuesday, went on hiatus Wednesday, was back Thursday, and could be gone by Friday.
It's tough sledding right there.
Yeah.
Listen, it's the way it goes.
One thing that we talked about when it comes to professional baseball players is the disappointment of last night for the Phillies. 8-0 loss to the Reds. They lose 2-3 to Cincinnati. They get the hell out of that city before the city tries to just steal Kyle Schwarber from us. I wouldn't be surprised if, they...
Yeah, what are they doing today?
I think they probably renamed the road that the bus drove out of. While he was on the bus, they just Kyle Schwarber Way, don't forget.
They have Schwar bombs. It's like a drink that they're offering to sell now.
Yes, for the visiting team player. Yeah. But they get out of there having lost 2 of 3. But one of the things we got into earlier on the show was the 2 relievers with JR initials that were brought in the offseason that have not lived up to expectation.
Yes.
And there will be a roster move coming.
Aaron Nola, both of those gentlemen.
Aaron Nola will return.
Correct.
That is the plan. He'll be back. I believe Sunday is going to be the day they listed TBA as the starter.
Yeah, when you saw that. Yeah.
That tends to be that Nola is going to be there Sunday. They're going to have Suarez the extra day, or they say, hey, Suarez.
You just take a little.
You take 2 weeks off.
A little extra.
And then they don't have to make as many roster decisions. But they could make that decision when Nola comes back of potentially getting rid of one of Joe Ross or Jordan Romano. Romano, obviously, last night gives up the grand slam. I saw the Salciunas tweet last night. I don't want to see this guy on my team.
No.
I don't want to see him pitch there again. If it came down to Romano or Ross, I am still keeping Romano. As mind-numbingly annoying both of them have been, there's just no upside to Ross's stuff the way
I
there
get
is
you
with
on
Romano.
that. If you have to choose one, you're going to go with the lesser of the 2 evils, so to speak, because there is something redeeming at times, but it's just because Joe Ross is not any good at all at any point. That's what you're saying. You're saying Joe Ross can't find the broadside of a barn when it comes to the strike zone. Romano can one time, therefore you're going to keep Romano. That's basically what you said.
Oh, man. You just went in.
That's what you said.
So Amy interpreting what I had to say there. So that's
Ross
not what Amy's saying.
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
You literally said Joe. I would. The reason you would choose Joe Ross because there is no upside and there is a small, very slight. If you squint and maybe use some magnifying glass situation upside for you for Romano.
Yeah, just more the guy throws mid to high 90s and.
Yeah, when the exit velocity is greater when it goes out. Because he's throwing harder.
All right, so you really like Joe Ross?
No, I don't like
Who
either.
bought the jersey?
They're both gone.
Who bought the jersey?
There is none. Come on.
All right, but you got to get rid of
We're
one
smarter
first.
than that.
You got to get rid of one first.
Well, Ross, there's more invested also in Romano.
Yeah, but to me, it's not really a money thing when it comes to them. It's just the Romano.
No, it's not. But I think they thought that this guy could be somebody, and Joe Ross was kind of like a body.
Now, I'm curious. We're going to go out to Pittman, talk with Lenny, see what Lenny's got on Romano. Lenny, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hello, guys. I'd like to answer your question you answered a while back. I could listen to an Ozzy Osbourne interview for 2 hours.
Ooh,
that's a good one.
He's just when he talks, it's like every sentence is like, but anyhow.
Also fascinating.
I just got 3 things I'd like to have other people an opportunity, but thanks for taking my call. Amy, you're a well-dressed woman. I see you all the time. You dress fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
On my Romano thing, the guy, I don't know about you, but every time he walks in, he looks like a homeless guy. I don't know if he's got like hair growing out of his ears. He needs to get a shower, and maybe if he got cleaned up a little bit, he really does. He looks ragged. He kind of just looks like a ragged guy, and I'm tired of the Bryson Stott stuff. I'm ready to just, you could send him down if you want. And if I may, are you there?
Yeah. Oh, we're here. No, you're just rapid firing here.
Listen, I know he's popular in this town, Jason Kelsey and all, but yesterday on the podcast, the way he's reacting to Taylor Swift's album, he acted like a 7th grader. Come on, man, grow up a little bit. Really, this Taylor Swift stuff's a little like Barbie doll stuff. It's really getting old.
Well, Lenny, you made your presence felt in a minute and 15-second phone call.
Somehow I'm not the biggest curmudgeon on this show anymore after just one segment. That was crazy.
First of all, I will say this, and Lenny probably doesn't have a lot of people that are Taylor Swift fans in his life. I have several Swifties that I know and I'm close with. They were planning their days around it. They were setting timers for this thing. It is, to say that it's not a big deal and maybe Josie and Kelsey overreacted, I would say that is the reaction that millions of people had.
So I think that there is the divide line of what media is.
And he's not in the media in that case.
But I think there is certain
that
decorum that the athlete podcast doesn't follow that traditional media does.
Yes.
And that the way Kelsey acted is a athlete podcast is it's just kind of hyping up your future sister-in-law.
We're hyping up right now she is the biggest pop star in the world.
She's the biggest pop star in the world, and she unveiled her album on your podcast.
It's a really big deal.
Yes.
But even if you're doing the E-News.
I'd love to see what their numbers are.
I don't think Lenny probably watched a lot of E-News. Even those reporters would do a little bit of hype up. Kelsey did what he typically does, and he gets fired up for something, and he got fired up on her behalf.
Yeah, he gets fired up. He's a guy that has a lot of energy.
Yeah, I don't have
Also,
energy.
the Romano thing wasn't about his pitching. It was about his...
Yeah, his appearance.
His grooming.
Yes.
That was
which I have more issue with the pitching.
Yeah.
I
didn't like
I'll
his
be
hair.
as bold to say that. Bryson Stott thing. I'm not sending him down. I'm still cool with him platooning. And did we break everything down, I think, from the Lenny call there?
I think we got it.
Listen, I'll give Lenny credit where credit's due.
He covered it all.
There was a lot of content covered in less than 90 seconds of phone call.
It was impressive.
Impressive is a word you could use. Coming up, we're going to get...
Oh, and Ozzy. He said Ozzy.
Ozzy.
But
I want to get to some of those coming up. The 2-hour... Who would you listen to 2 hours worth of conversation? 2 hours worth of interview. Who would you want to hear interview for 2 hours at length? The Ozzy answer was good. I like the Ozzy answer. It was a strong start to that call. Lenny had a strong start to the call. Everything else I
hope it was Ozzy because of what he would say, not because he was making fun of the fact that he, stuttered when he talked.
Okay, so maybe in that case it was all a tough go of it.
Yeah, it was this.
We'll try to be better next time. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Another day of joint practice. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update, and it's brought to you by Groundworks, your trained and certified experts for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. The Eagles were hard at work again for another joint practice today against the Cleveland Browns. Head coach Nick Sirianni spoke to the media prior to today's practice, and he said these practices are all about eliminating the negative plays.
There's some ups, there's some downs. That's how any practice is going to go. Thought we did some good things running the football. I thought we had a couple too many negative plays. It's hard to score points when you move backwards. So that's always our goal and what we talk about in training camp or even any practice review or game review in the season. How do you eliminate bad football?
Some notes from today's practice. Lane Johnson was out with the rest day. A.J. Brown was listed as limited, but he did not practice in the 11-on-11 drills. And overall, it was just a negative day from the Birds. According to all reports, the Browns got the better of them today, but it's just a joint practice. Phillies are going to play their first game on a Thursday since June 6th tonight when they start a 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. This update was also brought to you by Audible. Stuck in traffic? Audible's romance collection will have you falling in love fast in the slow lane. Satisfy every side of you with rom-coms, I can't even say that word, romantasy.
And the steamy stuff, man.
And the
Tell
steamy
the
stuff,
steamy stuff
yes.
that you get on
That's what
Audible,
happens
too.
when they try to make up a word that's not together. But we'll be back here on The Fanatic.
Well,
did. That's literally what it started with. A bang of the door of you marching out of here and into B Gun's studio.
it did start with a bang. In other news, B Gun just figured out what romantasy is.
Yes, well, he said it in that Audible read.
All I know is I just typed it into my phone and it put the red squiggly mark underneath it. That's all the validation I need that it's not a word.
But I mean, you kind of tried to read it. So I tried to explain what it is: romantic fantasy.
Yes.
Romantasy.
I'm curious.
I'm happy I know what it
You know,
means
y'all's
now.
not a word either, but people say that.
It's live radio sometimes. So when you come across a word, you don't know what it is.
Romantic fantasy.
I've more been trying to, with that Audible read, trying to figure out how to properly talk about the steamy stuff.
The steamy stuff.
While you're trying to read an update, you know?
The other one says you can't be pinned down unless you want to be after three ...
Yeah, that's the dark romance.
It's very difficult to go from, like, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies won, like Embiid, the knee, Eagles camp continues. This update's brought to you by Audible. You have your opportunity for rom-com, romantasy, and some of the steamy stuff. And it's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to, like, bring the same energy to the sports update as I am to what Audible wants me to get across. So if someone could give me, like, a little bit of a reader's note or I don't know what.
Yeah, like a little, like...
Yeah. So they're trying to get across something, you know,
It's like Taylor
Reflection.
Swift on New Heights. She made a joke about the Venn diagram of listeners. I don't know how many of us are obviously by me, are reading romantic.
I'm curious. The fiance read romantic novels?
I don't know. Could it be?
No, I'm saying, does she? Because I'm curious.
Not necessarily.
I'm curious how you got the block
That's
from the
absolutely a
romantasy.
yes, and he's just not going to put her on blast. Good Lord.
Okay, so he's just not paying attention is what it is.
No, he's turned 7 shades of red. She obviously does. She clearly does. Let's move on, shall we? The poor young woman is just minding her business at home, and we're talking about her literary
she likes
to read.
choices.
I'm curious how he could get past. I'm curious how he could get past this point in his life.
The best is we were trying to move how you figure out how you move past it on an update, and we've now dedicated a minute to it.
Romantasy.
I'm just saying how you were unaware of romantasy existing. That was only where I was coming from on that conversation right there. All right?
I never want to read that again.
Well, maybe you won't have to.
That's a fair point.
Let's get back to one of any of the topics we were talking
down
about.
One now.
We've lost all control.
We
1
have.
o'clock hour.
Because it started with the gun at 1 o'clock.
Brendan Gunn, please go to the text line with anything that we've been talking about today.
All right, we got somebody checking in saying, Ray, you ready for this take? Malcolm Jenkins is the greatest safety in Eagles history.
I love they started, Ray, are you ready for this?
Wait,
I
the
appreciate you
greatest
addressing me.
safety?
Yes.
I mean, there was one that's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's not.
So, no.
I guess it comes down to that argument, do people
But he didn't win
value the ring? But I think that's stupid. Like, Brian Dawkins
He
is
still
the
has a
Eagle
ring,
in my mind.
just doesn't have one with the Eagles. Reggie White. Is Reggie White not one of the greatest Eagles because he didn't win a ring here? No, that's false.
No, it's stupid.
Yeah, I love Malcolm Jenkins. He is an Eagles Hall of Famer. I do not want to disparage him the day after he gets that honor. He's just not Brian Dawkins. Brian Dawkins is still the greatest safety.
Correct.
This organization's.
He's a very fine safety.
Yeah. Oh, he's wonderful safety.
Helped them get over the top. Leadership.
The subject of this conversation about players you're wrong about, which is what our guy Stan in Drexel Hill wants to jump on here at 610-632-0975. Stan, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, what's going
Stan.
on, guys? How you guys doing today?
Good,
hey, Amy, I wanted to say, it's really dope talking to you. I said the same thing to Dee like years ago when she got on with a Fanatic. It's dope hearing you and being able to speak to you because I remember those mornings waking up and watching you with cover the Sixers and post game and all that different stuff. So it's really dope that you're a part of the family now.
Thanks, Stan.
That's really awesome. But I got to tell you all, man, I'm kind of with B Gun with that Little League thing, man, because it does piss me off. I'm gonna tell you, not really the Little League specifically, but I do hate when it's advertised that something else is on, and then I cut it on and it's something that I have no interest in watching. That does irritate the crap out of me. Like, I want to watch the Sixers game, and then they'll say the Sixers are on, and then I cut it on, and for whatever reason, it's like some amateur boxing. And it's like, I'm happy that y'all trying to do you live your dream. I'm not trying to watch that right now.
All right.
So I gotta say, I get where he's coming from. Maybe not as enthusiastic.
Well,
that's the way to put it, Stan.
Stan, what he's doing here is he's trying to give purpose for him not liking the Little League World Series. It's not about the channel.
Oh, okay.
It's his laziness that she's trying to hide behind here.
Okay, I got you. He's trying to use that as the driver. Okay, I got you. Also, real quick, so for me, I got two people that I can listen to for 2 hours. One's sports related, one's not. The first one, Allen Iverson. I tell you, man, and I don't know if I'm just being biased because that's my favorite basketball player of all time. But listen to him talk, the stories, different things, even people talking about. Like, I love that. Like, I will forget that I've been listening to it, and like 3 hours have gone by. So that's one person, and the other person is actually 50 Cent. His mind, business wise, even through the music when he was beefing with people, his description of stuff, how he runs his stuff. Like, there's something about that I'm just like, it's like an enamored. Like, I'm enamored with it.
That's a really good answer.
So those are two guys that every time I hear those things, man, I'm trying to tell you, hours go by and I wouldn't even notice it.
And the player you were wrong about?
Oh, Joel Embiid. Yeah, I was wrong about Embiid. I didn't want a 7-foot guy with foot issues. And the funny thing is, the foot hasn't even been a problem. It's been everything else. So,
of all the issues, Stan, I appreciate you checking in with us. Thanks for making the call.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Joel Embiid, I think that's probably a good one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, just because who you wanted going into that season. That's one of the ones you were wrong in a good way. This is a wrong in a good way conversation too. I want to make that clear for everyone because Malcolm Jenkins, a lot of people were wrong about not wanting, and it ended up working out for them.
Yes.
I said Saquon because I did not want to pay a running back, and they paid Saquon, and I got the broadcast from Parade, and that was pretty sweet. So I'll totally hand up on that one.
Like, all right, probably should have had that guy that set the record for most rushing yards postseason and regular season combined. Yeah, sure, no worries. Could have gone for the actual record.
Justifiable. Okay, it was at the time. You can only say what you think at the time. At the time, it was justifiable. Now I look like a moron. I'm willing to wear that. I'm willing to be the moron. I'm willing to stand up for that.
I'm glad.
A lot of people, I think, also wrong in a good way on Hurts, which there was something interesting that we'll get to coming up.
Yes, that's a good one.
That I also think maybe, and this is something I heard Connor Thomas say today, and it's like, honestly, I do think that one of you, I don't know who it is, whether it was you, Amy Fedul, you, Brendan Gunn, might be Brandon Dutz, could be Gabby back there. I don't know who is the sympathizer with the morning show, but there were a few things that I wanted to get into today that I felt like just ended up being said on the airwaves today. It wasn't like hey, the Phillies lost, how do you feel about this stuff, or like the Eagles, where they're at right now. I would lean to believe that it's Brendan Gunn's loyalties that lie with the morning show. That he was just
not me.
No, he's a morning show guy.
I feel like you might have been like, hey, say these things so it seems like Ray's thought process is just copying you. Because there was a couple things today that...
You're giving me way too much credit. I was not awake for that morning show. Oh. I love my guys.
Wow. Look at that.
If I don't have to wake up that early, I'm not waking up that early.
All right.
I mean, yeah, I can't say that I'm awake at 5:45 in the morning. My alarm did go off at 5:45 in the morning today, and that's the first time I've set a 5 o'clock alarm in a while, like something before the 5 o'clock hour. This is why I love this shift specifically, because of like the hours here.
Yes,
the 10 to 2 is a good...
It's right in the prime.
Right. I can sleep a little bit, and now I have sunlight coming in my room. In a new place, my sleep schedule's changed.
It's easily solvable.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Wonderfully. No, I love it. I was
you have
below
no
ground
Wi-Fi,
before.
no curtains either.
No. Who needs curtains?
Somebody that complains about the sun coming in their eyes.
No, I'm saying it's a good thing.
Oh, okay,
it's reinvigorated me in the morning.
Just no curtains at all?
No.
Huh. Usually it's for the people inside and outside, but okay.
Well, I have
Says the guy that gets changed in his car, and now you're not having curtains. It sounds like you like getting changed in front of people.
Maybe that's a romantasy book for you.
Well, I have a small window that actually looks out towards like the...
You realize windows are... people can also look in.
You have to really try. I'm on the 3rd floor, and like... it's a very small window. And the other window faces literally nothing. So I probably will get curtains at some point, but I've been there 2 weeks, and you really would have to put a lot of effort into it. That's not where I thought this segment was going at all. I wanted to get back to the text line. We'll get back to the text line.
Start with romantasy, end with romantasy.
Real steamy stuff happening middays.
People are tuning in like, what? What kind of show is this?
Coming up next, something Doug Peterson talked about. He was on with your buddy, John Clark.
That's right.
Takeoff Podcast. They were
Little
talking
Dougie
about
Doug.
Jalen Hurts. And something Doug Peterson said about Jalen Hurts that I feel like we might have to start giving the organization just a little bit more credit for this whole thing. A lot of people want to say luck. Can't quite get there. That's coming up. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. You're tuning to Middays, 97.5 The Fanatic. Interesting baseball news-ish.
Yeah.
And apparently it's just made its way to The Athletic. She's Amy Fedul. I'm Ray Dunn. Brendan Gunn producing the show Middays here on The Fanatic. About some of their negotiations coming up. Obviously, the TV deal is something.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Negotiation.
Yeah, sorry. Major League Baseball. That's they are obviously looking
Your
at some
sentence
of
was
the.
kind of strange.
What?
You ended with the Fanatic, and you said their negotiation.
Yes.
What's going on?
No, I'm talking about baseball, not anything Fanatic related.
Copy
Please
that.
Do not
Well, baseball, obviously we had the big news last year with, we were talking about this earlier, NBA leaving the long-time partnership with TNT. So there was a lot, rights holders and like all that, the broadcast rights, that's been coming up recently more and more.
So Andrew Marchand does a tremendous job covering sports media across the board here. Major League Baseball executives are in negotiations that could result in new broadcast packages and relationships with Netflix, ESPN, NBC, and Apple, according to officials briefed on the discussions. NBC and Peacock, NBC/Peacock, as well as Apple TV Plus, are considered top contenders for Sunday Night Baseball. NBC wants to own Sunday night. That is their goal. They have Sunday Night Basketball coming back. They have Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football is the top-rated show of any show ever out there.
They won Sunday night.
Yeah, crushed.
And first-round playoff games for NBC Peacock as well as Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
While ESPN could add weekday games and a bigger daily digital presence, which is very interesting to see from the ESPN side of things, which would mean potentially more nationally televised games. TBS has the Tuesday package right now. I would be interested to see where weekday afternoon feels like a potential ESPN stronghold where they could try and do like a Wednesday afternoon. With the opening day, they try and do that.
They do, like
and
a 3 o'clock, a 2 o'clock.
They have Joe Buck just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, which is interesting because I think Joe Buck does a tremendous job at baseball.
He does. He gets hated on because in 2008 he was still coming, I think, into his own as a baseball guy.
It did seem like he was pulling for the Rays. But
yeah,
there was, did he do one? Was it last year? There was like a one-off. Was it
right?
Last
It was.
year?
I think it was opening day.
And it was like, it reminded you like, wow, this guy really is very solid at baseball.
So I speculated on the weekday. Well, they said weekday games. I speculated on it being an actual day game. That's not from the reporting.
I guess, it still could be like a Wednesday at 6:30 or whatever.
But the end of the report, the end of this paragraph here, Netflix has emerged as the potential home run derby destination.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it was interesting when you and I was like, Netflix. You could have told me Apple, but the thing that I like about baseball, and this is not a rant about like, I should be on my television, I need money or whatever, is that it is the most accessible. There are 162 of these games, all great, good times. But that's the Fall Classic. There are people, and I think it's it's the best of all of the until the NHL just did that Four Nations. It is, and I still think that the way that baseball does their whole All-Star Week, I think it's the best of them all.
Yep.
It's interesting. It's competitive. People are into it when people win. I mean, when you watch that swing off with Kyle Schwarber, I had people that are not Phillies fans like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Yes. They don't watch baseball. They do watch that. So Netflix, while a lot of people have Netflix, and it's probably the most popular of all the streaming, do they do live streaming? Like Apple does live streaming?
They did the one, what was it, Black Friday game? No, it was Christmas. Right? They had the Christmas football games. They had an NFL package last year.
They had one?
Yeah.
So, Beyonce was their halftime show.
Oh,
I think that was Christmas Day where they did that.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. Listen,
I don't like it.
If you have all of them, probably if you have one of them, you have Netflix. But if you're going to put it on Netflix, like you can't. You have to do one of those ones that they did at the beginning when they put the MLS on Apple. Like you get everybody like a free trial or something.
Right. I don't like them putting the home run derby on Netflix. If they were,
I just think like a lot of people watch that one.
I don't think Ricky Bo likes it either. He needs his validation here. He's standing behind you. You need to get on the YouTube camera, and I think he wanted me to acknowledge that he was there. Yeah. So, all right. I mentioned this, and my heart breaks for our listeners because going into that break, Ish from Levittown was on hold, and Ish dropped off
and
the
he had
line.
such a good call yesterday.
I know. So we had mature Ish yesterday, and I'm heartbroken for our listeners. They won't be able to hear Ish.
That's disappointing because I thought I thought he was going to back it up 2 in a row.
He was trying to put together a good streak there, but
sorry, Ish.
I really hate to see
we're
that.
getting ready to come.
Oh, baby Raymond.
He didn't do that yesterday.
He didn't do it,
which was
no,
weird.
It was like we kept waiting.
He
for
had
a real Ish call.
He had like 3 topics, and we just kept waiting for the shoe to drop, and it never did.
He never did it.
No,
he had takes.
It was something.
Oh man.
So that was coming up in this segment, no longer. But something I did tell you was coming up in this segment was Doug Peterson talking about Jalen Hurts, and it was on John Clark's podcast talking with Doug Peterson about a number of things. But they talked about just how much they loved Hurts, and it's off of the comment that Jeffrey Lurie made post Super Bowl saying they were obsessed with getting Jalen Hurts. And of course, at the time they've got Carson Wentz. At the time, we all look at it saying, What are they doing? They have a quarterback. They need to help that quarterback. Why would you draft a quarterback in the second round? Oh, by the way, don't forget what draft pick they made in that first round that everyone was already upset about. Now, this is Doug Peterson talking about what they saw and what they loved about Jalen Hurts.
You and Howie and Jeffrey Lurie, and it struck me when I interviewed Jeff, he said that they were obsessed with getting Jalen Hurts. Is that pretty accurate?
It's very accurate. We woke up Friday, it was day 2 of the draft, and Jalen was still on the board, obviously. And, we had those conversations like, if he's there at our pick, what are we going to do? And to every man, it was like, let's pull the trigger on this kid. We did our homework on him. I loved everything about Jalen, his work ethic, the people you talk to, his coaches, even his parents. Just a classy kid. And what he went through from Alabama to Oklahoma, getting benched at Alabama, and then he comes out of that and he goes to Oklahoma and he has success. He could have easily maybe folded up the tents and says, you know what, I'm going to go to the NFL, see what happens. Stays in school. And just, we were obsessed with Jalen Hurts. He's all about winning. He's all about doing things right. He's not flashy. He doesn't come off that way, and very humble human being, and just loved everything about him. So when we got to that pick for that second day, we were like, let's do it. Let's get him in here. Let's let him learn from Carson, because, 2 athletic guys. And, by the end of the season, though, he was starting 3 or 4 games for us.
Learn from Carson, if Carson wants to teach him anything. But he does throw in there the number of things that they love about Jalen Hurts. And I know for a lot of years we've talked about this organization, about whether or not they lucked into that pick or they were really about it. I understand it's easy now. The cynic in me says it's very easy now for Lurie to say they were obsessed with Hurts. That Peter said that they were obsessed with Hurts, that they were really all about drafting him. They saw the shortcomings of Carson Wentz. They saw what potentially was coming down the line there.
Yeah.
They made this draft pick not just for the backup. It becomes more and more apparent.
Replacement.
He has the potential. And I would say they positioned themselves. I think after 2023, they had gone about getting a number of draft picks in the future. They always are ready to go when it comes to the next quarterback.
That's how you have to become a good team,
right?
A team that would sustain success.
And I say after 2023 because there was Hurts had the season he had, whereas he was an MVP favorite through 11 weeks, and the coach had it. So if everything had gone haywire, they would have been in trouble for dead cap, but they also would have been positioned to try and.
Yeah.
They also in 2022 going into that season, the best trade they could have made is the one they didn't. They did not make any trades at that time when they were thinking about Russell Wilson, when Deshaun Watson was a name out there, that they were thinking about potentially replacing Jalen Hurts.
Zach Wilson in the draft.
Talk about dodging one.
Yeah. So that to me, I wonder if people feel like they deserve more credit than they get for the Hurts pick. Because I feel like the Hurts pick kind of gets written off as like this,
Yeah, you thought it would be like a flyer.
Right.
It's hard to say a flyer at a second round, but,
luck.
Yeah, it was a little bit like, hey, this guy looks pretty good. We'll see if it pans out.
It's not
We didn't draft him in the first round, though, so.
Yeah, it's not all, it can't be 100% credit and 0% luck.
Correct.
There's a line that breaks it down, but I think it's more credit at this point. If you go 50-50 on it, I think you're probably closer to credit than you are to luck.
And do you think that's because of how you've seen him perform, or is it how you've seen how this team has operated in every other aspect for each position?
I think it's how he performed. I mean, I think he's performed up to what you would have expected of a guy that came out in the second round to be, the whole thing is just spending a second round pick on a backup quarterback.
But I feel like they've had really good drafts.
Well, yeah,
recently.
since that time they've
so
also
that also
performed.
kind of plays for me. That plays into it because
Got
it's
it.
there's
So
a
your
little bit
perception of
more.
him has changed.
Yeah, so yes, he obviously panned out, and I think that they probably did evaluate him correctly as a winner. But I think the reason I believed in their evaluations is because their evaluations now, as a whole, have been very good.
And I want to make this very clear. I'm saying they tried to get both Watson and Wilson. They were denied. When we talk about the long-term, were they lucky that they didn't make any of those deals before 2022? That's luck. I'm just talking about the draft pick.
Yeah.
At the time. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, but you're saying in 2022 you thought, well, maybe we go after.
I didn't.
Oh, no.
I was team, and I was very early into my time here at the Fanatic. I got here.
I'm definitively was never team Deshaun Watson.
No, yes, I was very anti that one.
Would not have played out well here.
And I didn't want to give up everything for Russell Wilson. No. I also felt like you had seen enough to give him another year, and then we could have made a decision in another year.
Yeah.
And I got here August 2022, so I could tell you that the airtime I had to voice that opinion in August of 2022 was basically back there talking to the other APs as they got done. Like when Connor would get done with the morning show, I'd be doing the midday show. It would be like two of us back. That would be the only back. So I don't like people would be like, really? Like, did you really think that? I was like, I could go get you student radio stuff. You want that? You want some old Temple, some stadium talks from WHIP? Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the text line here as we're getting to the close here because I want to cover. We covered a lot today.
Yeah, we got a couple people checking in on who they would want to have a 2-hour conversation with. Somebody says Chris Berman. Another person says Brett Favre.
Oh.
What is Brett? What is? I don't know. What does Brett Favre have to offer for 2 hours?
I'm gonna walk right past that one. I would not want to be in the same room as Brett Favre for 2 hours. That's kind of. I'm out on that one. Brett Favre, interesting football career. Yeah, I'm good on that.
Not an overly remarkable football career.
It's a pretty good football career,
but there's nothing like he didn't overcome a bunch of
the 2 hour thing has to be someone that I'm intrigued in their full life story, and I guess maybe in a you want to know
Kurt
what
Warner.
went wrong with
there's
him?
a guy that had a remarkable. He was bagging groceries. Like that's a fascinating
arena football.
And I mean, but Brett Favre, he went to a smaller school. He got drafted. They mispronounced his name, but and was very good for the Packers.
Yeah, I'm just.
That's
he
about
was
it.
Kind of good for the Vikings one time, and then we all know the other stuff.
Well, that's it. The other stuff I don't really.
I'm just not that
care to be
interested
around
in
him.
I'm interested in him,
terrible. He's gone on to be a scumbag. Moving on, we got somebody checking in said they want to make the trip out to KC because they want to walk in there as world champs.
Yeah.
Shove it in their face.
I kind of like that.
I'm
What
assuming
the caller
Super
that
Bowl-
called said that too.
Super Bowl shirt. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean at that point you wear a Super Bowl shirt, maybe have a replica with you.
I'm pretty sure that I've been to Boston 3 times. I think 2 of the 3 I've worn the Super Bowl 52. I didn't wear it this most recent time because I got another Super Bowl to worry about. Super Bowl 59. Kansas City would be one. I enjoyed their live down there downtown. They got if what they want to do at Xfinity is like their live in Kansas City, I'd be cool with that. I enjoyed the downtown there.
Have like a whole experience.
Yeah.
I like rolling in there. It is a stadium that's very loud and large, and you can roll in there with all that, nonsense where they start doing the tomahawk chop thing, and you could just rise up.
Yeah. What do you got else on the text line?
Yeah, a lot of people are checking in saying they were wrong about Jalen Hurts, so that adds up a little bit.
Yeah.
We also got people checking in on those 3 guys they think are going to be here. You got Jahad Campbell, you got Quinyon Mitchell, you got Cooper DeJean, a couple other ones. They're all defense, dude. And then someone else said Nolan Smith, Quinyon, and Jalen Carter.
Okay, so a lot of people went defense here, which I think speaks a little bit to the age that people are like. Everyone sees his defense as young, so when I say 5 years, they want the defensive guys for the next 5 years. I might have been the only one that had the quarterback, which is a very interesting
On the
case
text
study.
line, too, nobody checked in with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Well, if I had
Doesn't
more
mean we
time
don't
to
love
dive into that, I would.
Well, we can dive into it tomorrow if you'd like.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I just got done a show. I'll start planning the next one a little later.
Where are you going to do your show sheet tonight?
I don't know. This morning, I just bit
fired
the
it
bullet
out
and went with the hotspot off the phone, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
it's
That's
terrible.
never
The
good.
connection sucks. Yeah. I'm only a few days away from Wi-Fi, folks. I can actually do a show sheet at home. I don't know. There's a couple breweries around that I probably could
I
go.
bet you can find something.
There's no late night cafes in Philly. I have a problem with that, but I can't get into that now. Thanks, Big Up, for producing the show. Amy Fedul, great job as always. I'm Ray Dunn. Hope to talk to you again real soon, right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Nick Nurse says he's on shore for Joel Embiid will be ready for training camp come October. This update was brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.